Good evening. The tellers have informed me that we have a quorum, so could I ask everyone to please take your seats and we'll get going. Welcome to our 2026 annual town meeting. I'm your moderator, Dan Evans, and I'll be conducting the business this evening. The tellers have informed me that a quorum is present, so the meeting will please come to order. The return of the warrant by the town constable shows that the warrant was properly served, so the meeting is properly constituted. As you know, we begin our meetings with the Pledge of Allegiance. May I ask all of you to stand and please joining me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I'll start, as we do typically, with introductions. Up here at the table on your right, we have our select board, Ellen Maher, Chair, Chris Plex, Vice Chair, David Farrig, and Paul Grady. We have our interim town manager, Michelle Leary. We have a town council, Roger Smerridge. Behind me, on the table to the front on your left, we have Mike Barkley, Tom Callahan, Mark Cameron, Mike Flaherty, Diane Kennedy, Mark Maggi, Courtney Murphy, Vince Thornton. To my right, we have the town clerk, Lisa Leger, and assistant town clerk, Beth Anderson. On the small table behind the advisory committee, we have our tellers for this evening, Phil Faulkner, Debbie Leggett, Michael Putzinger, and Susan Putzinger. As you know, the guests, if you're not a registered voter, the guests were issued a name tag, and this is the non-voting section. Some town employees who are not voters may be sitting with their colleagues in the seats here, but other than that, the non-voters will be sitting up in the non-voting section. We have, find it. You should have two different booklets or stapled material with you. One is the bound warrant article, which arrived in the mail, and then there are copies available there. That provides notice of the actions that we're taking at the meeting tonight. Then the other packet is the one that's stapled in the upper left-hand corner. That's the town manager's proposed motions. Those are the motions, that's the actual wording that we'll be acting on each of the articles this evening. You'll see that for brevity, we don't read them. I will say at the beginning of each article, may I have a motion in the form distributed to the meeting? So what I'm referring to is these. These are the motions that were distributed to the meeting. When somebody says moved, what they're moving is the language that appears under that article in here for the motion. When I say second and somebody says second, then they're seconding that, and that's the language of the motion that we will start discussing. They can be amended following procedures, but that's the language of the actual action. So the warrant simply provides notice. The proposed motions provides the actual language that we'll be adopting on. We'll vote by voice unless I'm uncertain with a voice, or at least 7 voters indicate that they desire that they doubt my count by standing, which is fine. If necessary, then we'll vote by hand ballot. You'll hold these red pieces of paper up in the air to vote by hand ballot, so keep a hold of those. The tellers will count if we have to do that. If you would like to speak on a motion, please move to a microphone, one of the microphones here, to be recognized. Once I recognize you, please begin by giving your name and street address. Please keep the debate concise and to the point. All debate must be courteous and respectful. Brevity is both courteous and effective. Sarcasm is never appropriate. Generally, it should be not necessary to refer to specific individuals involved in the debate. If you must refer to another speaker's remarks, please do so with the utmost respect. You can disagree with ideas. Be careful about disagreeing with people. Speakers are limited to 5 minutes, except when you've arranged it with me in advance. If at any point you have a question about the procedure or the conduct of the meeting, including a concern that I may have done something incorrectly, you should seek to be recognized. Let me know you have a question of a point of order, and then state your question or concern. Many of you are familiar with the motion for a previous question or calling the question. It brings an immediate vote on the pending motion, so it stops debate. It requires two-thirds vote to be adopted to stop debate. It can only be, I will only entertain it after both sides have had a fair opportunity to be heard. And if I've already recognized voters or their vote has been standing, I may allow them to speak before proceeding with the motion to call the question. On timing, we've got a long evening tonight. I think the plan is to just power through it. It may get very late. We've got a lot of stuff to do, but we'll get it all done tonight. Any questions before we jump into the business? Great, thank you. As many of you know, this is my last meeting as your moderator, so let's make it a great one. Thank you. Thanks. Article 1, recognizing citizens and employees for particular service to the town. I'll recognize the chair of the Select Board, Ellen Maher.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our annual town meeting. In recognition of services as an employee of the town upon retirement, Patricia Hamlin, Lori Topa, Maureen Berry, Kathleen Sullivan-Sanches, Kim Kirker, Marcia Campbell, Susan A. Hearn, Theodore Holland, Sandra Zappolo, Karen McGinnis, Eileen Weislinger, and Russell Sears. Let's have a round of applause for our retirees. We also take a moment to honor those who have passed, who have served the town of Cohasset. Pamela Fahey, Public Health, Director of Public Health. Paula Gell, Cohasset Police. Randall Rosano, Cohasset Fire. Edward McDermott, Cohasset Public Schools. Dennis Walsh, Cohasset Public Schools. Mary Snow, DPW. And Jane F. Pescatori, Cohasset Public Schools. Thank you.
For the record, may I have a motion that the recognition of the named citizens and employees be accepted and placed in the permanent records of the town? Thank you. May I have a second? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, please signify by saying nay. The motion was adopted unanimously. Article 2, Annual Town Report. May I have a motion in the form distributed to the meeting? Thank you. May I have a second? Thank you. The motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? We'll proceed to a voice vote. Motion on Article 2 does require a majority vote for adoption. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, please signify by saying nay. The motion is adopted unanimously. Article 3, Reports of Committees. For the PEB Committee, I'll recognize Mr. Timothy Davis.
Thank you. Timothy Davis, 257 Atlantic Avenue. The Post-Employment Benefits Committee is charged with reviewing and evaluating the town's OPEB and pension liabilities, which provide pensions and medical insurance to our retired town employees. For 15 years, this committee has been working to provide these excellent retirement benefits, follow state mandates, and with a manageable impact on the town budget, while at the same time contributing to the AAA bond rating for our town debt. The top-tier bond rating that we now enjoy saves the town at least 0.25% on our debt service, or about $900,000 in interest payments on a 30-year, $23 million debt. Since the expectation is that when fully funded, the OPEB trust fund assets should never be used, the assets are invested for long-term growth. And so far, Mr. Market has been favorable to us. When fully funded, the catch-up funding that are required by the state on the pension funds and what we're doing with OPEB, which will no longer be required, that money plus the annual income generated from the investment of these assets could be as much as $8 to $12 million per year, which can then be used to fund other town budget items the town residents may approve. This should coincide with the large investment contemplated for our schools. I would like to thank my colleagues on the Post-Employment Benefits Committee, Michelle Leary, the Select Board, and the community for their continued support of the PEB committee work. In particular, I would like to thank Linda Cole for her extraordinary work on all of this. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other committees that would like to be heard? Very well. No action needs to be taken, so we can proceed to Article 4, which is the operating budget. May I have a motion in the form distributed to the meeting? Thank you. May I have a second? Thank you. The motion has been made and seconded. Requires a majority vote for adoption. I'll recognize our interim town manager, Michelle Leary.
Thank you, and good evening. So we'll be presenting the FY27 budget. We can fast forward through some of these slides. So when we start building the budget, we talk about financial strategies. We use dedicated funds for appropriate expenses. We maintain structural balances. We limit reliance on one-time revenues. We align debt service with funding sources, and we collaborate with the school department. The FY27 operating budget, Article number 4, the total appropriation is $67,642,444. Of that, the general fund is $59,090, sewer enterprise fund, $2,682,866, and the water enterprise fund is $5,959,488. This includes salaries, expenses, and debt service. What the budget funds? The budget funds salaries of elected officials and town staff, departmental expenses, debt service, both principal and interest, and other mandatory costs as noted in the 5-year forecast. And everyone can look at Appendix A for the FY27 operating requests. So the funding strategy, again, is a combination of reoccurring and non-reoccurring sources. The general fund through taxation, state aid, and local receipts, the enterprise fund contributions, and the stabilization and other reserves. Enterprise and indirect transfers. So the sewer enterprise revenue is $2.3 million, and that's raised by user fees. The sewer retained earnings of $300,000, and the sewer betterment debt stabilization of $150,000. Those are both transfers into the sewer enterprise fund for operating expenses. This includes $141,130 in direct costs reimbursed to the general fund. And as far as the water enterprise revenue, $6.1 million, and this also includes $156,948 in indirect costs to reimbursement to the general fund. So general fund sources. Raised through taxation, state aid, and local receipts, we have $57,697,054. The capital stabilization fund to pay debt service is $472,208. The community preservation fund, $257,750, is also a debt service payment. We have free cash of $30,000 for general operations. The Title V Betterment Fund, $75 transferred in for debt service. Excess overlay reserves, we're using $150,000 that has previously been allocated by the Board of Assessors, and the Recreation Field Revolving Fund of $20,000. We have a total indirect transfer from enterprise funds of $298,078 for total sources to equal $59,090,000. General fund key takeaways, the total budget of $59,090,000, with the total town side being $32,969,085. This includes all mandatory and shared expenses, and we have a total school budget of $26,031,005. The total mandatory expenses here can be broken out to be $15,753,523. When we talk about the budget as a whole, I'd like to highlight that the total town increase is 2.9%, and this includes shared and mandatory costs, while the total schools increase is 4.83%. Thank you.
Thank you. The Select Board has recommended approval by a vote of 4-0. The Advisory Committee has recommended approval by a vote of 8-0 with one abstention. The School Committee recommended approval by a vote of 5-0, and the Community Preservation Committee has approved the borrowing under Article 6 of the 2023 Special Town Meeting. Is there discussion? We'll proceed to a voice vote. Motion on Article 4 does require a majority vote for adoption. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, please signify by saying nay. The motion is adopted unanimously. Article 5, unpaid bills from previous years. May I have a motion in the form distributed to the meeting? Thank you. May I have a second? Motion has been made and seconded. It does require 4/5 vote for adoption. I'll recognize our interim town manager, Michelle Leary.
So Article 5, unpaid bills from previous years, we're asking for $5,106.96 to be expended by the town manager to pay unpaid bills from the previous fiscal year.
The Select Board has recommended approval by a vote of 4-0. The Advisory Committee has recommended approval by a vote of 9-0. Is there discussion? We'll proceed to a voice vote. Again, it does require 4/5 vote for adoption. All those in favor of the motion under Article 5, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, please signify by saying nay. The motion is adopted unanimously. Article 6, supplemental appropriations for fiscal 2026. May I have a motion in the form distributed to the meeting? Thank you. May I have a second? Motion has been made and seconded. Requires a majority vote for adoption. Again, Michelle Leary.
So we are asking that $152,840,000 be taken from sewer retained earnings to fund the general fund reserve transfer. There was a transfer given earlier this year for $152,840 for the membrane purchase. We're asking to refund the general fund for that amount. The next item is the transfer PEG access funds, Cohasset 143 TV. This is an annual article, and we're asking for $114,042.51.
Thank you. The Select Board has recommended approval by a vote of 3-0. The Advisory Committee recommended approval by a vote of 9-0, and the Sewer Commission recommended approval by a vote of 2-0. Is there discussion? We'll proceed to a voice vote. It does require a majority vote for adoption. All those in favor of the motion under Article 6, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, please signify by saying nay. The motion is adopted unanimously. Article 7, stabilization and other special funds. May I have a motion in the form distributed to the meeting? Thank you. May I have a second? Thank you. The motion has been made and seconded. It does require a majority vote for adoption. Again, Michelle Leary.
We're looking to transfer $615,000 from raise and appropriate and free cash to the OPEB Trust Fund, $2,199,712 transfer through raise and appropriate and free cash to the Capital Stabilization Fund, and a transfer of $150,000 from the Sewer Betterment Stabilization Fund to the Sewer Enterprise Fund, and $900,000 through raise and appropriate and free cash to the Roads and Sidewalk Stabilization Fund.
Thank you. The Select Board has recommended approval by a vote of 3-0. The Advisory Committee has recommended approval by a vote of 9-0. And the Sewer Commission has recommended approval by a vote of 2-0. Is there discussion? We'll proceed to a voice vote. The motion on Article 7 does require a majority vote for adoption. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. All those opposed, please signify by saying nay. The motion is adopted unanimously. Article 8, Capital Improvements Budget. May I have a motion in the form distributed to the meeting? Thank you. May I have a second? Thank you. The motion has been made and seconded. It does require 2/3 vote for adoption. For the Capital Budget Committee, I'll recognize Susan Franklin.
Good evening. I am Susan Franklin, and I'm Chair of the Capital Budget Committee. I'm presenting Article 8, Capital Improvements tonight. After internal town discussion, our committee was presented $2.7 million in capital projects and equipment for review. Presented here for your approval tonight is $1.2 million in fundings recommended by the Capital Budget Committee. Needs for schools represent 55% of the total recommended items. 44% in total are part of multi-year rollout programs like vehicle replacement and furniture and technology replacement programs utilized in the schools. Annual payments recommended for school buses are inclusive of use and maintenance under multi-year leasing programs. There was a change in the motion noting that two of the items, they're listed at $1.2 million. That is the fire apparatus, and the sweeper is listed at $336,000, but we're asking just for the amount to fund the initial payments for those items, which total approximately $400,000. Lastly, Project 23, designed for Elm Street. Those funds will be turned back to the Capital Stabilization Fund in the event that Article 23 does not pass. Thank you.
Thank you. The Select Board has recommended approval by a vote of 3-0. For the Advisory Committee, I'll recognize Mike Barkley.
Good evening. Mike Barclay, 100 Elm Street, on behalf of the Advisory Committee. First, I'd like to commend the Capital Committee for the excellent job. They are tasked with a difficult job of allocating a limited amount of funds across a really wide range of needs for the town. And the budget you see before you is really a microcosm of how capital needs should be planned short, medium, and long term. This budget addresses needs across the town, and truthfully, we remain in catch-up mode on our capital budget because for about a decade, the budget did not grow, yet equipment aged, assets got older, they needed to be replaced, and unfortunately, the budget was static. So we really are in catch-up mode. The one thing I would say that what you saw in Article 7 with the Special Purpose Stabilization Fund for street, roads and sidewalks, those have really proven to be a very nice supplement to the budget that have allowed us to extend, the capital budget to other areas that are in need. The Advisory Committee has reviewed all 23 of these. We agree with the recommendation of the Capital Committee by a unanimous vote, and we hope you agree. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll recognize Mr. Leland Jenkins.
Leland Jenkins, Jerusalem Road. All the years I've lived here, we have had 3 pumpers, which we only have enough manpower to run 1 pumper. The pumper that's being taken offline is been sitting in the fire department garage, I believe, for 7 years without being used. Number one, when we bought number 1 7 years ago, why do we have 3 pumpers? Absolutely, I can't understand why. And I think when number 2 comes up, we should be replacing number 2, not number 3. Number 3 should not be in that garage. But could somebody answer my question?
Is there someone? Yes.
Good evening, John Dockeray, Fire Chief, 26 Norfolk Road. Yes, we do have 3 fire engines. Under the national standard, a typical response for any kind of fire in a single-family home is 2 engines. When one of those 2 engines is out of service, we put the 3rd engine in service. We maintain 2 operating engines at all times. Also, when one of our 2 primary engines is out of service due to mechanical issues, like we had last week, engine 1 blew a coolant hose, was out of service for 2 days, engine 3 went into service. During the blizzard of February, engine 3 was staffed and responded to numerous incidents during the blizzard. Matter of fact, the department responded about 75 runs in a 24-hour period. Also, when one of our primary engines responds mutual aid to another community for a building fire, we will call back off-duty members who will come back and staff engine 3 or the reserve engine and put the town back into proper coverage to respond if there's an incident in the town. So we need the 3 engines. One, the first 2 are primary, and the 3rd is a reserve backup that does get used a lot.
Thank you. Mr. Jenkins?
How many hours does that have on in 7 years? It's been sitting there for 7 years. How many hours is it?
Let's be careful about engaging in a colloquy. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I don't have the total hours off the top of my head, but it's probably close to 50 or 60,000 hours.
Thank you.
The truck has been in service for 25 years under the national standards. The truck service life, the first 10 to 15 years serves as a primary piece for the community, and then the next 10 years serves as a reserve piece.
Thank you. Is there further discussion? We'll proceed to a voice vote. Motion under Article 8 does require 2/3 vote for adoption. All those in favor of the motion under Article 8, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, please signify by saying nay. Motion is adopted unanimously. Article 9, allocation of funds for one-time cost. May I have a motion in the form distributed to the meeting? Thank you. May I have a second? Does require a majority vote for adoption. I'll recognize our interim town manager, Michelle Leary.
So Article 9, allocation of funds for one-time costs. What we're looking for is to transfer $75,000 from cemetery sale of graves to cemetery maintenance. We're also looking to fund $10,000 from the waterways repairs to the harbor master account. We're funding FY 23, 24, and 25 excise tax that's been owed to the Waterways Fund in the amount of $24,016.25 from free cash to the Waterways Fund. We're also funding teacher early retirements in the amount of $84,156 from free cash to the school budget. And we're looking to fund new electrical code inspections for all town buildings in the amount of $63,605 from free cash to the facilities budget.
Thank you. The Select Board has recommended approval by a vote of 3-0. The Advisory Committee has recommended approval by a vote of 9-0. Is there discussion? We'll proceed to a voice vote. A motion under Article 9 requires majority vote for adoption. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. All those opposed, please signify by saying nay. The motion is adopted unanimously. Article 10, Departmental Revolving Funds Annual Spending Limits. May I have a motion in the form distributed to the meeting? Thank you. May I have a second? Thank you. The motion has been made and seconded. It requires a majority vote for adoption. I'll recognize Michelle Leary.
So Article 10, we are looking to set the annual spending limits for the departmental revolving funds. We're looking to keep these limits remaining in effect from year to year unless amended by town meeting vote. This is a housekeeping article.
Thank you. The Select Board has recommended approval by a vote of 3-0. The Advisory Committee likewise recommends approval by a vote of 9-0. Is there discussion? We'll proceed to a voice vote. Motion on Article 10 does require a majority vote for adoption. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, please signify by saying nay. The motion is adopted unanimously. Article 11, Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 91 liability. May I have a motion in the form distributed to the meeting? Thank you. May I have a second? Thank you. The motion has been made and seconded. Requires majority vote for adoption. I recognize Michelle Leary.
Article 11, Mass GL, Chapter 91 liability. This is an annual article again and is a prerequisite for state funds to perform work in the Cohasset Harbor and along the shoreline.
Thank you. The Select Board has recommended approval by a vote of 3-0. The Advisory Committee has recommended approval by a vote of 8-0. Is there discussion? We'll proceed to a voice vote. Under Article 11, requires majority vote for adoption. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. All those opposed, please signify by saying nay. The motion is adopted unanimously. Article 12, additional real estate exemptions, annual renewal. May I have a motion in the form distributed to the meeting? Thank you. May I have a second? Thank you. The motion has been made and seconded. Requires majority vote for adoption. For the Board of Assessors, I'll recognize Patrick Kennedy.
Good evening. I'm Patrick Kennedy, 59 Jerusalem Road Drive, Chair of the Board of Assessors. The next two articles are essentially housekeeping articles as well. Mass General Laws, Chapter 59, Section 5, has many provisions that classify uses of property and classifications of types of property as being exempt or possibly eligible for deferment of real estate taxes. The provisions of Article 12 are exemptions for armed service members, certain low-income elderly residents, and also legally blind persons. Applicants have to meet the qualifications, and in order for those exemptions to be eligible to them, the town, under a local option initiative, has to adopt those provisions. So 12 is to adopt certain exemptions, and 13 is to adopt local option for deferments of elderly residents, longtime residents who meet a certain income test, and this is also to raise the income threshold for those eligible for that deferment.
Thank you. The Select Board recommends approval of the motion under Article 12 by a vote of 3-0. Advisory Committee recommends approval by a vote of 8-0. Board of Assessors recommends approval by a vote of 2-0. Is there discussion? We'll proceed to a voice vote. Motion under Article 12 requires majority vote for adoption. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please signify by saying nay. The motion is adopted unanimously. Article 13, Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 59, Section 5, Clause 41A. May I have a motion in the form distributed to the meeting? Thank you. May I have a second? Thank you. The motion has been made and seconded. Does require majority vote for adoption. Again, for the Board of Assessors, Patrick Kennedy.
I introduced Article 13 a minute ago. It's deferments for elderly, longtime residents who meet an low income threshold. This raises the income threshold to the circuit breaker limit set by the state.
Thank you. The Select Board recommends approval by a vote of 3-0. Advisory Committee recommends approval by a vote of 8-0. And the Board of Assessors recommends approval by a vote of 3-0. Is there any discussion? We'll proceed to a voice vote. Motion under Article 13 does require majority vote for adoption. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, please signify by saying nay. The motion is adopted unanimously. Article 14, rescission of authorized but unissued debt. May I have a motion in the form distributed to the meeting? Thank you. May I have a second? Motion has been made and seconded. Requires a majority vote for adoption. I'll recognize our interim town manager, Michelle Leary.
Article 14, to see if the town will vote to rescind the balance of $3.3 million in authorized but unissued debt previously authorized under Article 9 on May 2021 annual town meeting. This was for a GAC system for the water treatment plant.
Thank you. The Select Board recommends approval by a vote of 3-0. Advisory Committee recommends approval by a vote of 9-0. The Capital Budget Committee recommends approval by a vote of 5-0. Is there any discussion? We'll proceed to a voice vote. Requires majority vote for adoption. All those in favor of the motion under Article 14, please signify by saying aye. All those opposed, please signify by saying nay. The motion is adopted unanimously. Article 15, Cohasset Water Rate Structure. May I have a motion in the form distributed to the meeting? Thank you. May I have a second? Thank you. The motion has been made and seconded. Requires a majority vote for adoption. For the Water Commission, I'll recognize Chris Pratt.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Chris Pratt. I'm the chair of the Cohasset Water Commission. This is Article 15, the proposed water rate structure for the Cohasset Water Department. So tonight I'll briefly walk through what's being proposed, why it's necessary, and what it means for us, the residents. So we're proposing a 5-year rate plan with approximately a 4% annual increase. This applies to base fees, usage tiers, fire service fees, and other rates. The goal is to create a predictable and stable rate path rather than larger, sudden increases. So why? As you know, the Water Department operates as an enterprise fund. That means that we're fully funded by our rate revenue and not by taxes. The revenue supports operations, maintenance, regulatory requirements, and infrastructure investments. This is a cost of service model, meaning our rates are set based on actual costs to run the system, pay debt service, and keep the department financially solid. We're also responding to increasing regulatory requirements and ongoing water quality challenges, which continue to drive the cost of operating the department. A little bit more of the why is that our operating expenses are increasing. And importantly, these sustained increases we're seeing year over year, not one-time spikes. Over the past 5 years, sludge removal and disposal has increased nearly 9%. Chemical treatment and lab testing is up 9.5%. Contracted services are up nearly 10%. Utilities are up close to 9%. And these categories alone represent approximately 72% of our operating expenses. Overall, the Water Department's operating expenses are increasing by about 4.4% annually. When they increase at this level, it has a direct and material impact on the department. So the proposed 4% adjustment is simply keeping pace with our expenses and not exceeding them. With the ongoing cost pressures, rate considerations, and future planning, the Water Commission remains strongly focused on financial management and fiscal responsibility. We're actively managing expenses through disciplined budgeting and procurement practices. We're maintaining strong retained earnings to help stabilize rates and support future investments. And we're building a financial foundation to responsibly plan for what's ahead for the department, for the water system, and for the town of Cohasset. So again, what it means for us, you can find the full rate table on page 16 of the warrant. So for a typical household, which has a 1-inch meter, which is the majority of households, and for the average annual usage, the usage portion will increase by about $9 per quarter, or $36 per year. The typical residential base fee, which is a critical component to help cover our fixed costs, will increase approximately $8 per quarter, or $32 a year. So that results in an overall impact of approximately $68 per year for the typical user. Of course, this is simply an example for a typical user, and the usage costs will vary based on your household and your usage behaviors. So what's ahead and why we're doing this? The town of Cohasset and the Water Department are entering a very exciting and transformative period of time. We've begun a generational investment in Cohasset's water system. Currently, our Lily Pond water treatment plant is approaching 50 years old. It's undersized, it underperforms, and it has effectively reached the end of its useful life. Our residuals management area, also known as sludge lagoons, is undersized, very costly, and it's a contributor to our treatment challenges. Due to this, we've begun the early stages of the largest public infrastructure investment in Cohasset's history. First, the renovation and expansion of our residuals area. We're now nearing completion of the design phase of the new residuals management area and look forward to begin construction process on the new lagoons in the near future. Second, we're in the beginning stages of the piloting process, the design and construction of a new modern treatment plant. A treatment plant which will support the town's water needs for decades and generations to come. This rate structure presented tonight allows us to pursue those objectives responsibly. We respectfully ask for your support for Article 15. Thank you.
Thank you. The Select Board has recommended approval by a vote of 3-0. Advisory Committee recommends approval by a vote of 9-0. And the Water Commission recommends approval by a vote of 3-0. Is there discussion? We'll proceed to a voice vote. Requires majority vote for adoption.
I have one question for
Oh,
Chris.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No problem. Jennifer Chu, 25 Virginia Lane. Hi, Chris. So my only question for you is what kind of improvement can we see in our water quality with the new treatment plant? And how will that impact, will it impact if we see, if we have PFAS in the water or other kind of things that we don't want in it?
So ultimately, the treatment plant is being designed and constructed to solve those water quality problems that exist today. When the plant was built almost 50 years ago, PFAS was not even a term. People didn't know about it. It wasn't studied. We didn't know the effects of it, amongst other things that are being regulated today. So 50 years later, after the current treatment plant was built, regulation has changed, water quality standards have changed, and the fact is we have an undersized plant currently, and we have a very difficult raw water source to treat. We have high organics, and it's a shallow pond. In fact, it is a pond, unlike larger reservoirs and other bodies of water. So ultimately, the long-term solution, the best thing for the town of Cohasset, is to invest in a new treatment plant.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Is there further discussion? We'll proceed to a voice vote. Article 15 does require a majority vote for adoption. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, please signify by saying nay. The motion is adopted unanimously. Article 16, wastewater treatment plant system upgrades design. May I have a motion in the form distributed to the meeting? Thank you. May I have a second? Motion has been made and seconded. It requires 2/3 vote for adoption. For the Sewer Commission, I'll recognize Bill McGowan. I think I recognize Bill McGowan. Maybe not. Does anyone from the Sewer Commission want to speak, or do you want to handle it, Michelle?
Paul Kierce, 39 Coach Road. I am the Vice Chairman of the Sewer Commission. This article that we currently have in front of us, Article 16, is to start the upgrade of the sewer treatment plant, similar to what the Water Department is going through with their plant. We're doing the same in ours. All of the funding for this does occur through our current ratepayers, and we've been having a couple of funds set aside for membranes and various upgrades. So on this particular article, we're going to begin to replace some of the pumping systems and air systems that are in the sewer treatment plant.
Thank you. The Select Board has recommended approval by a vote of 3-0. The Advisory Committee has recommended approval by a vote of 8-0. And the Sewer Commission has recommended approval by a vote of 2-0. Is there discussion? We'll proceed to a voice vote. Motion on Article 16 does require 2/3 vote for adoption. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, please signify by saying nay. The motion is adopted unanimously. Article 17, creation of a revolving fund for cemetery fees. May I have a motion in the form distributed to the meeting? Thank you. May I have a second? Thank you. The motion has been made and seconded. It requires a majority vote for adoption. For the Cemetery Committee, I'll recognize Glenn Pratt.
Glenn Pratt, 472 King Street. The cemeteries are almost self-supporting. We, earlier tonight, transferred money from our Sale of Graves account for maintenance, which is lawn mowing. And we have other fees that we charge folks when they have a burial. which currently are going into the general fund, and the DPW Cemetery Department doesn't have any benefit of that money for additional services they need to purchase. So this money that we collect for burial fees will be on a revolving fund like the other 10 revolving funds we talked about earlier. It will be used exclusively for cemetery maintenance.
Thank you. The Select Board recommends approval by a vote of 3-0. The Advisory Committee recommends approval by a vote of 9-0. Is there discussion? We'll proceed to a voice vote. Motion under Article 17 does require a majority vote for adoption. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. All those opposed, please signify by saying nay. The motion is adopted unanimously. Article 18, Community Preservation Committee. May I have a motion in the form distributed to the meeting? Thank you. May I have a second? Thank you. The motion has been made and seconded. Requires majority vote for adoption. For the Community Preservation Committee, I'll recognize Mr. Tom Reardon.
Good evening. I'm Tom Reardon, 131 Nichols Road, and chair of the Cohasset Community Preservation Committee. The committee is unanimously recommending to the town meeting 2 projects. In addition, there is a notification of a payment from CPC funds for the debt service on a bond which was approved at a special town meeting in 2023. That bond issue was designed to improve recreation facilities in various parts of town. The first project that we are recommending is for $11,225 from the open space account to the Conservation Commission and Department to conduct a baseline documentation report and mapping for conservation restrictions at Salerno Woodlands, which is on King Street, Bonds Wildlife Sanctuary by Wheelwright Park, and Ingram Park on Norman Todd Road. The second project is for $25,000 from the undesignated account. That will go to the Paul Pratt Library for an ADA-compliant door. The door will be the major access point for the new outdoor pavilion, which is under construction right now and is due to be finished in early summer. The total cost of that door is $50,000. $25,000 is being paid by capital budget. Thank you very much. Any questions? Thank you.
Question.
Thank you.
Question.
Let me just, before we go. Select Board recommends approval by a vote of 3-0. Advisory Committee recommends approval by a vote of 9-0. CPC recommends approval by a vote of 5-0 for Project 2 and by a vote of 7-0 for Project 3. I can see one discussion at least. Mr. Jenkins.
Lee Jenkins, Jerusalem Road. Quick comment. The bond payment, the first article, the first thing, number 1, bond payment pursuant to Article 6 of 2023 of $257,750. How many years do we have to pay that?
Is there someone that can respond? I think the question was, Mr. Jenkins, how many years do we have to pay that?
That's correct.
Yeah. Does anyone know? I think the question is it a one-time payment of that amount, or is it that amount in multiple years? Is that the question? Mr. Reardon, would you mind standing up and addressing?
Sorry. I believe it's a 10-year bond, so it's paid each year for 10 years out of CPC funds, unrestricted funds. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there further discussion? We'll proceed to a voice vote. Motion on Article 18 requires majority vote for adoption. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, please signify by saying nay. The motion is adopted unanimously. Article 19, South Shore Regional Vocational School Committee, amend regional agreement. May I have a motion in the form distributed to the meeting? May I have a motion? Thank you. May I have a second? Thank you. The motion has been made and seconded. It does require a majority vote for adoption. I'll recognize again our interim town manager, Michelle Leary.
The amendment to the South Shore Regional Vocational Technical High School Agreement adds the town of Pembroke to the agreement, therefore offsetting the expenses for many communities.
Thank you. The Select Board recommends approval by a vote of 3-0. The Advisory Committee recommends approval by a vote of 9-0. Is there any discussion? We'll proceed to a voice vote. Motion on Article 19 requires majority vote for adoption. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. All those opposed, please signify by saying nay. The motion is adopted unanimously. Article 20, Amendment to Cohasset Bylaw, Chapter 244, Article 2, Sections 244-2 and 244-4. May I have a motion in the form distributed to the meeting? Thank you. May I have a second? Thank you. The motion has been made and seconded. Requires a majority vote for adoption. I'll recognize our town clerk, Lisa Leger.
Good evening. The amendments to our 244-2 parking permit required works to solidify the residency requirement for the issuance of all facility permits as it relates to parking in the town of Cohasset. The second section, 244-4, clarifies the posted parking areas where a permit is required to park in the town of Cohasset, and also establishes the criteria for the issuance of non-resident Government Island parking permits in the Government Island parking area.
Thank you. The Select Board has recommended approval by a vote of 3-0, and the Advisory Committee has recommended approval by a vote of 9-0. Is there discussion? We'll proceed to a voice vote. Sorry, no discussion. We'll proceed to a voice vote. Does require a majority vote for adoption. All those in favor of the motion under Article 20, please signify by saying aye. All those opposed, please signify by saying nay. The motion is adopted unanimously. We'll proceed to Article 21, Cohasset Public Safety Building. May I have a motion in the form distributed to the meeting? Thank you. May I have a second? Thank you. It does require 2/3 vote for adoption. I'll recognize for the Public Safety Facilities Committee, Mr. Glenn Pratt.
Good evening. My name is Glenn Pratt, Chair of the Public Safety Facilities Committee. Tonight, we're going to propose to you a new police station. After operating from the Independence Building at 24 South Main Street since 1913, in 1962, the police department moved into the new state-of-the-art public safety building on Elm Street. And the fire department moved from their home of 75 years at the harbor into the new building that was going to take care of Cohasset's public safety needs for 50 years. It did. Now, 62 years on, the building no longer works for either department. The community's needs have evolved, and so have the needs of the fire and police department. In 2005, the need for a new police station was placed on the town's 10-year capital plan. Now, 20 years later, the time has come to do something. This article seeks funding to build a new police station on Route 3A with space for future expansion for the fire department. Commander Gregory Lennon of the police department will show you why we need it now.
Good evening. My name is Gregory Lennon, and I am a commander with the Cohasset Police Department. I currently serve as the executive officer, which is the second in command of the department. I grew up here and have worked for the Cohasset Police Department for over 31 years. If you look at the photos on the screen, you're looking at our squad room being used for evidence processing, drug testing, and training, work that should never be taking place in a shared space like this. This is also where officers eat their meals. And when the room is being used this way, officers have to eat in their cars in the parking lot. The squad room was originally designed for roll call and shift briefings. Today, it serves as roll call space, the interview room for victims, witnesses, and suspects, the evidence processing area, the report writing space, the staff break room, and the primary meeting space for day-to-day operations. All of those functions happen in one single room. So when that room is in use for one purpose, everything else has to wait. If an officer is interviewing a victim, evidence processing is delayed. If evidence is being handled, interviews wait. There is nowhere else to go. That same room is also the only access point to my office. If that room is in use, I can't get in or out. I can't interrupt those interviews, so I'm effectively blocked until they're finished. And just to give you a real example of what that looks like, there was a time I needed to attend an important meeting while a critical interview was taking place in that room. I couldn't go through it, so I had to climb out of my office window onto the front lawn. That's not a joke. Fortunately, it's a one-story building. And even when I'm in my office, the space itself is extremely limited. If an officer needs to speak with me privately, there isn't enough room for them to sit. They have to stand, or we step out into the garage or the parking lot to have that conversation. At least I have an office. Most officers who carry additional administrative responsibilities don't have any dedicated space at all. There is no room to provide them with something as basic as their own filing cabinet. This is the daily reality of how this building functions, and it's where people are expected to work every day under those conditions. The building itself is about 13,000 square feet. It was built in 1962 for 9 officers. Today we have 21 full-time officers and additional staff working out of that same space. Now look at the booking and cell area. It's from that same era. It does not meet current standards, it's not ADA compliant, it fails inspection every year for deficiencies, and it cannot accommodate a stretcher. If somebody in custody needs medical attention, they have to be physically carried out into the hallway before they can even be placed on a stretcher. The cells do not reflect modern standards for safety, supervision, or humane custody conditions, and they create a higher risk of harm for both officers and people in custody. That is the reality of this building today. While Cohasset is a small, close-knit community, many people assume that little happens here. In reality, our officers regularly respond to serious incidents and handle them with the highest standard of professionalism. It could be a domestic situation that's escalating. It could be someone experiencing a mental health crisis. It could be a serious accident involving life-threatening injuries. And they respond to those situations as part of everyday service to this community. When they return to the station, their work continues. They may be processing evidence, interviewing a victim or witness, booking someone into custody, or writing reports that require accuracy and attention to detail. And they may be mentally processing a traumatic incident they just responded to. But there's no place to decompress because it is all happening in the same room. And if officers need a few moments to mentally recover from a difficult call, there is nowhere appropriate to do that. They may end up sitting in their car in the parking lot, just as they do when they eat their meals, or sitting on a toolbox in the garage, or the floor in the locker room. Then they immediately move back into interviews, evidence processing, and other responsibilities in the same shared space. Without any place to decompress or reset, they're expected to go right back to work and be mentally ready to think clearly and make good decisions on the next call they respond to. Investigation's slow because work cannot be separated into parallel tasks. Evidence processing is delayed because there is no dedicated space to complete it. And when one task has to wait for another, it extends the workday and generates overtime that would not otherwise be necessary. Officers are forced to work within the limitations of the room instead of focusing fully on the work itself. Interviews present another challenge. Victims and witnesses are brought into the same shared space where other activity is taking place. There is no true sense of privacy and no environment that supports them feeling safe while they are recounting what may be one of the most difficult experiences of their life. And once those interviews are completed, we often have to move people out quickly because the room is needed for the next function. That is not how these interactions are meant to happen. When people walk into this building, they see the reality immediately, and quite frankly, the workspace is embarrassing for a modern police department. And for someone considering joining this department, it really comes down to 2 questions. Can I do my job well here, and will I feel valued here? And under the current conditions, it's hard to see how the answer to either of those can be yes. That is not a sustainable standard for any workforce, because the people you want responding when something goes wrong, the people you want showing up at your home at 2 in the morning, have options because this is a competitive market, and departments across the region are all competing for a small number of truly exceptional officers, including us. And we are very selective about who we hire because we want the best people serving this community, and you deserve that. And the officers we have are among the very best in the Commonwealth. But these workplace conditions will ultimately determine whether they stay here or take their talent somewhere else, because this is not a standard you can reasonably expect people to continue working under. The limitations you are seeing are tied to a building designed more than 60 years ago for a department 1/3 the size. A new facility changes that. It provides separate spaces so interviews, investigations, evidence processing, and report writing can happen when they need to happen. It provides dedicated interview rooms that allow victims and witnesses to speak in privacy in a setting that supports both dignity and safety. It provides a booking and detention area that meets current standards and allows safe medical access. It provides a workplace that reflects the responsibility placed on the people who serve here every day. We ask officers to step into uncertainty and to respond to situations most people will never encounter, and to carry significant responsibility every day. The facility they return to should match that level of responsibility. And right now, it does not. What you are seeing in these photos is the current operating environment. The decision before you determines whether that continues. Thank you for your time.
The timeline that is about to be shown shows you that the police station issue has been looked at every few years for the last 20 years, and no action has been taken. This meeting in 2023 authorized $10,400,000 to purchase and renovate 135 King Street. Our architect and project manager were hired to design a new public safety building in 2024. During 2025, the project was put on hold, and the Select Board appointed a more diverse committee consisting of 8 citizens and 7 ex officio members to study more options. The proposal that we will be presenting to you tonight is the results of that work. First, we took a look at available opportunities to expand or renovate the Elm Street location. The Elm Street location is a small parcel, which you see on the screen, outlined in red. It's in a condensed, small neighborhood. Outward expansion is not possible. There's not enough parking. Any space that's taken for expanded building cuts into some other space that the department uses now. There is senior housing, 64 units in the back. There are group homes. There are unmovable utility easements and a myriad of other complications that do not make it feasible. The vertical expansion would require structural reinforcements, code upgrades, and would not probably provide enough square footage for the police needs. And if we were to do that kind of a project there, a temporary location would have to be found for both the police and fire department for a period of most likely 2 years. Elm Street cannot solve the public safety needs of either department, and even if it could, we wonder whether that kind of a municipal operation should be crowded into that small neighborhood. The other thing we took a look at was perhaps there's another location in the 3A corridor, which is the preferred location for public safety buildings. We looked at 13 open parcels of land there. None of them can work because of conservation restrictions, or they're too small, or they're currently not owned by the town, so they would have to be acquired. So simply put, there are no locations on 3A that are viable at this time. Designing a modern public safety building. In 2024, we hired project manager P3 and HKT Architects. HKT and P3 specialized in municipal projects in Massachusetts and designed and built many public safety buildings. The building committee and the police department worked extensively with HKT to ensure that police station design that we are presenting tonight meets the current and future needs of the Cohasset Police. The architects toured the existing building on Elm Street, observed police operations firsthand, and determined the space needs for Cohasset Police going forward and the types of spaces they needed and how they should be related to each other within the building. The designs we are presenting tonight meet those goals, and they take advantage of the efficiencies of renovating and adding on to the building we own at 135 King Street. The next slide, which you have in your handout, you might get more information by looking at that, shows the site plan. The building is centered on the property. The existing building is shown in the light yellowish green in the center. The dark blue addition is the secure police detention operation side of the building. The pale blue addition includes the unfinished garage, which will be used to house the fire department spare engine, which we talked about earlier, and other town-owned vehicles. Garaging a fire engine here will allow the fire department to operate their separate ambulance from the Elm Street location. The garage bays are located with easy access to 3A. Also, on your handout tonight are the floor plans. The first floor includes a public entrance where citizens or the public can come in, have access to police staff for questions or permitting applications, have access to the community room, which is also going to be used for police training, and in fact will be the town's emergency operations center, EOC. The second floor is devoted to police operations, including roll call rooms, evidence, interview rooms, offices, and lockers. The exterior view shows the building from the north view. This is the area that's being added on, which houses the secure police areas, police operations, detention cells, evidence storage, and those kind of uses. These areas are separated from the public entrance for the safety of the public, police officers, and detainees. A sally port is a garage which provides secure and private movement of detainees into the station where they can be safely transferred and move through the booking process without any public interaction. This garage is sized to accommodate ambulances in the event the detainees need to be transferred to a hospital. A secure garage bay is also provided, being built here, to process evidence on impounded vehicles. So the next thing you might be interested in is which is going to cost and how are we going to finance it, and Rich Kinship, Vice Chair of the committee, will speak to that.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Rich Kincherf. I am the Vice Chair of the Public Safety Facility Committee, and I live at 172 Sawyer Street. The table on this slide outlines the total project cost for the proposed new police station at 135 King Street. The total project cost is broken down into expenditures the town has incurred to date on the project, as well as estimated costs to complete the project. Expenditures to date are the first grouping in the table. These include the purchase of 135 King Street, various fees and expenses for design, as well as project management. To date, the town has spent $5,400,000 on the project, which was entirely funded by the original appropriation back in 2023. The estimated expenditures to complete the project are in the second grouping on the table. These include the estimated construction costs, radio and communications equipment, and various fees and other expenses. This also includes contingency for any unanticipated costs that may arise. Adding together what has been spent to date with what is needed, moving forward, we arrive at the total project cost of $32,183,000. This next slide explains how we arrived at the appropriation we are requesting here tonight. As we just saw from the previous slide, the estimated total project cost is $32,183,000. From that, we subtract the $5.4 million that has been spent to date and was funded in that original appropriation back in 2023. there is still another $5 million left of the original appropriation that has not been spent. When we subtract that as well, we arrive at the appropriation being requested here tonight under Article 21, which is $21,783,000. Planning for the long-term operations of the new police station has been an important part of the building committee's work on this project. Early in the design, we invited the town's facilities department to meet with the architect and engineers as we looked at alternative HVAC systems. The electric air source heat pump incorporated in the design was the decision by the facilities department, as it is a preferred system due to its efficiency and ease of maintenance. Sustainable design features were also considered to help bring down operational costs. In addition to the high-efficiency heat pump system, the design features high-efficiency LED lighting and low-flow plumbing fixtures to reduce water usage. Insulation is being added to the walls of the existing building to improve its thermal performance, while the new additions are designed with high insulation values in their walls and roofs. The roofs are also designed to be solar-ready so that PV panels can be added in the future to offset electricity costs if the town chooses to do so. The parking lots also will include vehicle charging. As designed and based on today's utility rates, we estimate the annual operating costs of the new police station to be about $68,000. Since 135 King Street was purchased by the town, it has since been the responsibility of the Facilities Department and DPW to maintain the building as well as the current facility on Elm Street. The Facilities and DPW departments will continue to do so after the police station is completed. And now I'd like to introduce David Farag for his comments.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. David Farag, Select Board Member, 39 Beechwood Street. When the article to purchase the King Street property for the Public Safety Building was introduced, I was sitting in the audience as a town meeting member just like you. Since then, I was elected to the Select Board, and the Public Safety Facilities Committee has spent years preparing this project for your vote tonight. There are a number of facts that I've learned during this process that I wanted to share with you. When the police station on Elm Street was built in 1962, officer training was informal and on the job. Training later became a structured, state-mandated, with an 800-plus hour program focused on modern policing principles. The Municipal Police Training Council, established in 1964, and further reforms were made in 2020. Our police station predates all of these changes. Please go to slide one. In the 1970s, Boston Magazine's 1977 cover, which you see to the left, highlighted the lack of police training, highlighting Cohasset Police as the gang that couldn't shoot straight. These stories are now a part of Cohasset history and folklore, including the story at the time of the police chief's son riding a motorcycle through town in just cowboy boots, 2 bandoliers of ammunition, and nothing else. Thank goodness we didn't have camera phones back then. Though these stories were entertaining, the need for real training and professionalization of the Cohasset Police was clear and later achieved. Please go to slide 2. Over time, the department has increased its professionalism and standards. Today, officers are trained in CPR, medical response, firearms, crisis intervention, de-escalation, active shooter scenarios, and complete 60 hours of annual in-service training, plus peace officer standards and training certification every 3 years. Officers now serve our community as law enforcement, medical responders, crisis managers, technology operators, investigators, communicators, and de-escalation specialists. To properly protect Cohasset, police need the proper tools and facilities. The new public safety building offers dedicated training areas, briefing rooms, and proper prisoner detention. Its layout meets Massachusetts codes for safety and efficiency. Modern challenges, including cell phone and computer forensics, crisis intervention, overdose response, active shooter protocols, and bias-free policing, demand updated resources. Recent issues in town, like car thefts, retail theft gangs, online identity theft, domestic violence, and mental health emergencies, also require effective responses. Our police are highly trained and have performed admirably even in challenging situations. During the Anna Walsh murder case, which gained national and international attention, both the state police and Norfolk County District Attorney's Office depended heavily on our police department due to concerns of their own objectivity and lack of professionalism following the Karen Reed case. They depended upon the Cohasset Police's professionalism and something that cannot be found in a budget or mathematically calculated. That ingredient was integrity. That is how a conviction was achieved in the case based on just circumstantial evidence. Building a top-tier police force starts with strong leadership at all levels: chief, commanders, lieutenants, sergeants, and it permeates to the patrol officers. Our building, over 64 years old, is outdated and unsuitable for current operations. Nearby towns like Hingham, Hull, and Scituate are upgrading their public safety facilities to modern standards. Since 1962, Cohasset has built a new Osgood School, upgraded the Deer Hill. The high school has been renovated twice since that time, relocated and expanded the library to the old Osgood School, and we've constructed a new DPW and senior center. After 18 years, Town Hall is now being restored to its former glory. Please clap for that. Meanwhile, the Elm Street Police Station remains unchanged. Building a new public safety building is long overdue. In summary, the decision before us is pivotal. We must choose whether to unite as a community and to move forward together, or allow division to undermine our shared goals. Now is the time for Cohasset to stand together, support one another, and ensure a safer future for all residents. The value of a new public safety building to Cohasset goes far beyond budgets, dollars, and cents. As Oscar Wilde once wrote, "A cynic is a man who knows the price of everything and the value of nothing." Voting yes on this article will resolve the issue and ensure our public safety operations are brought into the 21st century, meeting the needs of our community now and for future generations. Conversely, voting no does not result in any financial savings. Instead, it creates additional, more expensive problems for the town and its residents. Therefore, I urge you to join me in voting yes on this article. The safety of you, your family, and your children is of utmost importance. Thank you.
Thank you. The Select Board has voted 3-0 to recommend adoption. For the Advisory Committee, I'll recognize Mr. Mark Cameron.
Mark Cameron, 18 Virginia Lane, Vice Chair of the Advisory Committee. The Public Safety Building was presented to the Capital Budget Committee, Advisory Committee, and the Select Board in the fall of 2025. As the various committees dug into the details, there were still some items that needed to be fleshed out before putting the article in front of the community. The article was pulled from Fall Town Meeting. The process works. The Public Safety Committee fleshed out the details, went through value management items, and we have a plan that will provide the Cohasset Police Department with a facility that meets current operations now and years to come without increasing police and fire staffing. 135 King Street will also help support the needs of the fire department operations on Elm Street by housing our existing backup fire engine in the shelled-out garage space at 135 King Street. This frees up space on the Elm Street apparatus floor for our existing backup ambulance to be stocked with medicine and put into service at a moment's notice. This is currently not the case. The shelled-out garage space allows for future growth while providing current garage needs for critical DPW equipment in storms and a space for our school buses to receive regular on-site maintenance. The Emergency Management Center will be relocated out of the Deer Hill and incorporated into the police station, a more appropriate location. It will also serve as a community room for in-person meetings. The Advisory Committee has voted 8-1 with one abstention to support the police station at 135 King Street. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there someone from Capital Budget that's going to speak?
Kathy Forrest from the Capital Budget Committee, 36 Parker Avenue. One remit of the Capital Budget Committee is to review infrastructure projects. This committee is separate from the Public Safety Facilities Committee, and for this project, we have functioned as another set of eyes to help the town evaluate this proposal. The 4 Capital Budget Committee members who have voted to recommend Article 21 started our work in earnest last September. The committee consisted of some longer-term members with the benefit of town history, but also some brand-new members with fresh perspectives. During September and early October, these 4 members of the CBC had weekly public meetings discussing this project directly with the architects, the project manager, the chiefs, and town management. We dug deep into the details of over 50 documents that were provided to us, including existing condition reports for Elm Street and King Street, public safety staffing and programming descriptions, detailed site and building renderings, and line item cost estimates. Perhaps most impactful were the site visits that we made during that time. We toured the Elm Street station, we toured the Emergency Operations Center in the Deer Hill basement, we toured 135 King Street, and most informative, we toured the Marshfield Police Station built in 2021, which provided a stark contrast to the work environment of our town police force. And it gave us a firsthand look at how police stations support the work of modern policing. After the Select Board expanded the Public Safety Facilities Committee to include additional citizens and subject matter experts, I was added to the committee as an ex officio member. At that time, we gained a new representative on the Capital Budget Committee who unfortunately did not get the benefit of those previous extensive meetings or document reviews and did not take any facility tours. From that point, I provided updates about the project to the Capital Budget Committee at every one of our meetings through March, and the CBC continued to spend significant time and effort pressure testing this proposal. We concluded that the current police station at Elm Street is outdated and inadequate for the requirements of today and going forward. Our chiefs have done a remarkable job keeping their workforces effective in this facility. The current facility cannot be expanded cost-effectively to solve the complete problem, but it can be modified to provide a suitable home for the fire department. The police department need a new facility, ideally on 3A, which provides the best access to the whole town. The building at 135 King Street does have challenges for its newly proposed use. The site and the building do need modifications to meet the requirements for a public safety facility. However, a review of other sites around 3A found them to be too small or subject to conservation restrictions, or would also require extensive cost to make suitable. There are no other suitable locations on 3A in our little town. We also looked at comparables of facilities constructed in the last 10 years based on town size. In this effort, we really struggled to get truly comparable data. We could, however, see that if adjusted for today's building prices, the new police facility at 135 King Street will be well within the range of what other facilities have cost to build. As a result of our deliberations, the Capital Budget Committee recommends the approval of Article 21. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there discussion? I recognize Mr. Collins first.
Francis
Were
Collins,
you,
404
sorry, just,
South
I mean, was that, did you have some concluding remarks?
I'm going to be here to answer questions.
Oh, okay.
Somewhere around 35 or 40 years ago, we put a committee together to look at that building on Elm Street because there'd been a lot of deferred maintenance. The place was really in bad shape. And what can we do to make it better? And most of the issues that Officer Lennon raised tonight, we raised them 40 years ago. And nothing was done. We just kept putting off and putting off and putting off. And as you know, as you put off and put off and put off, up go the prices and up they go. To have proper policing in this town, to have proper facilities for these men to do their job that they're supposed to do, we need a new police station. You know, who wants to spend an extra $30 million if we don't have to? But we do have to. So this is something that we really and truly need, and I hope everybody thinks long and hard about it and gives it a good yes vote. Thank you.
Thank you. I've got the gentleman here, and then I got two people right there. Sir.
Jack Creighton, 23 Cushing Road. I rise to urge my fellow townspeople to vote enthusiastically for this project. It's a good project. I have been privileged to be in parts of it going back some 20 years. 20 years ago, when I was first in the police station, on the right side, I might add, it was horrible. It hasn't gotten any better. You've heard compelling evidence from various other boards and commissions who've looked at it and come to the same conclusion. It needs to go a new project. This project has been vetted. People have spent countless hours. I think we can all be confident that we have a winning proposal. And I asked you to support it. And yes, there were some financial questions. 2-3 years ago, there were some unfortunate budget projections. Fortunately, all of that is gratefully in the past. So let's not let that influence today. Let us not be held hostage by that. Let's also look at the financing. Now, this is a debt exclusion, and what that means is, yes, we're going to up our taxes a little, but we only pay the taxes until the project is paid for, and then it goes off the books. It's not an unending whatever. So you can take comfort in that. What you hopefully agree to tonight will be paid for. And again, we are very fortunate. We have probably the finest small-town police and fire department in the state, if not the nation. We should show our support. We should be grateful. And again, I ask each and every one of you to vote in favor of this project. Thank you.
Thank you. Got the woman over here, please.
Hi, Chrissy Francona, 55 Redgate Lane. As the fifth member of the Capital Budget Committee, I would like to just take issue with the comments that were made. I was the objecting vote. I have no issue with the fact that we need a new facility. That has never been my argument. My issue has been with the process, with the transparency of costs, and I think it was a pretty low blow to suggest otherwise. Thank you.
Mr. Jenkins.
Wheeler Jenkins, Jerusalem Road. I voted for the $10.4 million original price for this job. It's gone up 3 times. That's almost impossible to be done. And at $32 million plus, I know I'm going to say, another 15 or 20,000. So we're talking between 45 to $50 million to do this facility. Now, I've been told you can't count the interest. Well, that's the interest that everybody here pays for. So it should be counted. I just think we can do something better. With this facility, I think we can do something better. So thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Dick, and then I've got the gentleman over here.
Good evening, Michael Dick, 27 Parker Avenue. This is a clear community need. I also, on the Capital Budget Committee in 2023, voted for the $10.4 million. At that time, we had a very similar presentation outlining the terrible conditions on Elm Street and the need for a new facility. And we, after much debate, were able to agree to support that vote at town meeting. I'm here to caution this town meeting and future town meetings that we have to be so careful about how much a budget can increase over time. And it's stunning to me that this project has increased so much from the original 10.4 to meet the same need that we've heard about tonight. I'm sure there are many reasons why, but I want us to exercise caution and to be somewhat careful on how we approach this particular project. We have additional capital projects, I'm sure, in the pipeline. If there were time, I would ask both the advisory committee chair and the capital budget chair to outline what our future capital budget needs are over the next 3 years. The final point I'd like to make for us all tonight is that the projected $525 additional tax on a $1 million valuation comes on top of many dollars of increases we've experienced since 2023 in stabilization funds and other reasons. So I'm not saying vote no, but what I am saying is remember this night as we get future projects and how the town and its boards review these projects and make decisions for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Gentleman over here, please.
Patrick Reardon, 167 Pond Street. I'm also a sergeant and the K-9 handler with the Cohasset Police Department. I just wanted to say a couple of things regarding the project. I'm lucky enough to be able to work and live in the same town. It gives me the ability to, help out as many people that I live near as I can. And it's been a pleasure to be able to do that for almost 20 years. This isn't a question of whether or not we need a new department. We do need it, and it's going to happen at some point. We've been trying to do this for 20 years, and we've just continued to kick the can down the road. One of the issues that I just want to touch on real quick is recruitment. We've taken a long time to build the department to have quality officers that we have today, and we're trying to keep these officers. These are the people that are responding to your homes at 2 in the morning, all hours of the day. We're dealing with, we're not running, from bank robbery to bank robbery. This is Cohasset. We're a community-based police department. We serve different needs than bigger cities and towns. We're able to give you guys the service that you deserve. We have that ability to do that. Well, in order to have that ability, we need to hire people that aren't just intelligent, but that are emotionally intelligent. As you've seen in the last 5 to 10 years, policing's changed a lot. We aren't concerned with just strictly crime anymore. We are dealing with mental health crisis. We're dealing with drug issues. We're dealing with people with things that we never had to deal with 10, 15, 20 years ago. When we respond to your homes, you want us to be able to talk to you, to communicate effectively. When you guys are having issues or your family's having issues or friends, mental health has exploded in the last 5 to 10 years. We're trying to recruit people that have the ability to speak to you and de-escalate situations with your loved ones. The type of officer, it's hard to find. You've seen things from around the country, it's hard to find quality people that can handle that, that can jump from thing to thing. And I just wanted to, say that that's the type of officer that we're looking for. We're hiring right now, and I'm on the hiring committee. You want us to be selective. You want us to be able to pick people that can handle these things, that are well-rounded. It's really important in the station, a new station where these officers can actually work and do the job correctly, and interview people correctly, and serve you guys with the things that you need. It's extremely important. We're in a recruitment crisis across the country, so it's a buyer's market for us. I'm invested. I live here. I'm not going anywhere. And there's a few others that are too. But there's other places that they can go. People have options now. It used to be very, very hard to get this job, and now in the last 5 to 10 years, we have to be very selective about who we pick because they can go elsewhere. So, just for my friends, family, and neighbors, we like to be able to provide the best services we can. So that's all I want to say.
Thank you. Gentleman over here.
Thank you. Justin Skeels, 72 Lamberts Lane. I want to fully support, and I think everybody in this room supports the police and fire department in this town. I, like many of you, voted enthusiastically for the $10.4 million 2 years ago. One question I do have, so this is the second override as part of this project. What has not been outlined in this is the Elm Street renovation as it relates to the fire department. And originally, by the way, we all know we voted for a police and fire station for $10.4 million. We're at $32 million, and that amount is not defined yet. And my concern is we're going to be back here a year from now asking for another $5, $6, $7 million in order to do that project. It's going to be a third override. And then 2 years from now, we're going to be sitting here with a multi-$100-million question in front of this entire town when the school planning committee comes to us and asks us for another override. So I'd like to just get some clarification as it relates to the Elm Street property. Has there been research done in order to estimate any ballpark whatsoever with regards to that renovation?
We have earlier this evening, $150,000 was appropriated so we can begin to take a look in depth at what can be done at Elm Street. We do know what the requirements of the fire department going forward are. There are many things that are not meeting regulatory compliance, and so we're going to take a close look at that now, starting with the money we got tonight. But that project will probably be at least 2, maybe 3 years away before we can come in with a price, because nothing can happen until the police move out, and prices 3 years out can't be estimated today. But we're going to start taking a look at that now, and we'll give you regular updates. We do have a social media website page, Facebook page. We'll keep updating that with Elm Street information as we go along also.
Thank you. Thank you. Woman here, please.
Hi, Nina Welford, 231 South Main Street. I wasn't planning to speak tonight, but just sitting here thinking, watching that presentation, which I've now seen twice, and thinking about what our police department has had to put up with for the last 50 years, it is deplorable. I mean, I think most of us can agree on that. So I think it boils down to the cost, okay? And all of us are, well, most of us are dismayed about how things have changed in the last few years and probably aren't real thrilled with the process that we were brought through to get to this point. But my point right now is this project is not going to ever get any cheaper. And I would speak, the reason I felt like I had to say that is I was involved and kind of am still involved in trying to get a project done in a neighboring town that's a small commercial building. And we raised the money for it 5 years ago, could not decide on what to do with it. The program just languished because nobody could make up their mind on what to do with this need, that we all had the need, but nobody could come to a decision about how to do it. That average square footage for that building 5 years ago was $400 per square foot. Now the price for that building is $1,000 per square foot. And it's the delay in our time to make the decision that has completely put to waste all that money that we raised. You know, we've halved, basically, the value of that money we raised. It's sad, but that is the reality that we face today, I think. And I don't see this getting any cheaper. So if you agree with the need, which now I do, I'm convinced thoroughly, and I think that this building is not extreme when I look at what's been put into it and what our needs are. If we're building something for the future, I don't think this is extreme. So if it's 27,000 square feet at $1,000 a square foot, that's $27 million. So where we are, it's probably more than that for the kinds of specialized equipment we need compared to a regular commercial building at $1,000 a square foot. So I actually think this is not exorbitant. I think we need it, and we need it now because it's only going to get more expensive. Thank you.
Thank you. Sir.
Charlie DeSantis, 103 Forest Ave. let me put a little bit more rain on this project and hear me out and see if I can get some agreement here. I see the problem with this project is two parts. We have cost and location. As noted before, our first estimate was $10.7 million back a number of years, and of course now it's over $30 million. We have Quincy and we have Hingham that have set two warning bells clanging. Quincy's project just finished, $175 million. The place looks like the Taj Mahal. Just down the road in Hingham, they just completed their project, and they may even have some invoices outstanding, and it stands at $53 million. So, I mean, it seems to me this is a race that maybe we don't want to be in. Timing. Presently, we have a war with pressures not only the Cohasset, but the entire world's economy. And this situation has never before seen in our lifetimes. Respected economists, political scientists, historians, and journalists are predicting at best a deep recession, with many calling it a future depression. With every day the Strait of Hormuz is closed, the economic hit grows. Right now, the consensus is a four-year deep recession, if we're lucky. I say this is not the time for loading up with additional debt. We can expect a yearly debt service bill for this project. I'm estimating, for the numbers thrown about here today, about a $1.6 million a year debt payment, which is equivalent to about 5 afternoon kindergartens that we weren't able to fund at the last town meeting. So think of that. This is a sizable amount of money in debt service. The next problem I see is the location. The present location is on a quiet, wide, rural New England street near the town hall and the center of town, where the former one first sat. Proposed location moves it from the center of town and places on a very busy commuter link to Boston and our own very busy commercial thoroughfare. This creates a daunting challenge of entrance and egress for everyone, especially for people my age. Solution, what could that be? Well, the words I'm going to use are repair, renew, and remain in place. I didn't come up with this. The town of Bedford, Massachusetts did. They're up on the north and west of us, and they had a problem similar to us. An old building, originally the town library, converted to a police station in 1961. It was showing its age, benign neglect of some routine maintenance, and a severe need of some changes and controversy. And much controversy they had on the solution. The town liked the location, but they thought they were trapped into a new costly solution somewhere far from the town center. What they did was remarkable. They decided to repair, renew the present place, and remain in place.
A time check, sir. You're at 4 minutes.
I got about 2 more minutes.
You've got 1 minute left.
I got 2 minutes more to read.
No, you got 1 minute left, sir.
I can't do it in 1
please.
minute. We'll do my best. Just hear me out.
You got 5 minutes. You got 1 minute left.
Decided to repair, renew, and remain in place. They accomplished their goals by spending a total of $6 million on a project that was on time and on budget. How? By staying in place, they avoided the prohibitive costs, as in the case of Cohasset's proposal, of repurposing an existing building and having to meet all of today's code for police headquarters. Their tactic, do nothing to the existing structure that forces the new building code requirements. Avoid structural changes that would exceed the threshold requiring new building code requirements. thus avoiding such headaches as a full fire suppression.
Sir, you now are at 5 minutes.
I'm not finished.
Please,
I got two
sir,
sentences to read.
every
Sorry.
citizen has 5 minutes. I'm going to have to ask you to
I
stop
want one more
talking.
minute. I'm reading slow.
No, I'm
Yes,
sorry.
please, here. Would exceed- okay.
Sir, can you just summarize? Can you summarize the remainder, please? Thank you.
Okay, she'll read it.
I'll finish it for him.
It's a big project.
Very quickly, please.
Jennifer Chu, 25 Virginia Lane. Avoid structural changes that would exceed the threshold requiring new building code requirements, thus avoiding such headaches as a full fire suppression system, a seismic compliant foundation, etc. Their instructions to the architect engineer: avoid any changes that cross this threshold. This they did. They have a new facility right in the middle of town where it belongs, and something that they believe will serve them for at least another 60 years. Remember, this project does not have to burden us, particularly in the bumpy times ahead. Repair, renew, remain in place.
Thank you.
I would like to add my own commentary to this as well. So, a major concern for me, and I've got many, none of which are the police, and I do hope that we can get to a spot sooner rather than later where it is feasible. Perhaps that you do renew, repair, and remain in place, or something different that will meet the needs of all the citizens. The location is absolutely problematic. It's problematic for people with mobility issues, and it's problematic for people entering and exiting regardless of their age. I was passing in front of the new building about a month ago, and there was an officer, I'm not sure which one, but he was in a pickup truck that had the lights on that was trying to exit the facility. And the fact of the matter is that about 5 cars passed without stopping in either direction, not recognizing that he was trying to exit the lot. Additionally, and I know this because my son was in karate at that building, there are huge issues with water freezing and completely turning that particular drive into an ice sheet at the time when there is extreme weather. Finally, I would like to say that I think it's been extremely problematic on the part of many members of these committees that they have made people that have questions, concerns, or objections feel that they have no right to ask. If you've got information and you're able to share it, then you can bring people on board and get them aligned with what your decision is. But if you yell at them and belittle them, it's not going to help your cause. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see. I see center here, and then back there, and then up front. Go ahead.
Pam Ireland, 66 Nichols Road. I have some questions. Number one, I was struck by the comment that there are no comps or no reasonable comps. I found that very confusing, particularly with the number of towns nearby, including even on 3A, where we've had recent construction of public safety buildings. And related to that, based on my research, the cost for this building at a square foot level is about somewhere between $1,300 and $1,400 a square foot. And yet Hingham appears to have only been at about $1,000 a square foot. Situate's less, and that's not as good a comp because they already own the land, and I realize that. But I wonder if you could clarify the difference in the cost per square foot.
I think that the cost per square foot is comparable in all of the buildings you've seen built around in the last few years. It is in the $1,000-ish range. That's what it is today. There's no way to get around that. It's very difficult to compare to other towns and what they've built and why, because every police department operates differently. Every town is different. There are towns that people have suggested we should take a look at for benchmarking, which we did. And we find things like they don't have a commuter rail, they don't have a state park, They don't have a local school district. They have a regional school district. They don't have a harbor. So there is a very difficult problem in trying to benchmark what other towns have spent and the size of the buildings they have constructed. So we think ours is right where it should be cost-wise, comparable to the others. And we think that the size and the functionality that we've designed is exactly what our police department needs.
Thank you. Mr. McGowan?
Yes, good evening, everyone. My name is Bill McGowan, 29 Fernway. This is the first time in my 35 years in this town to speak, other than as a sewer commissioner. I feel strongly about this project. Unfortunately, I'm also in the building industry and do things internationally. And I see this type of debate all the time. I don't care in what country. And what I would like to ask you to look at is the fact that the people that have been hired, the experts that have been hired, the architects, the engineers, are not doing this for our angst. They're doing this for the benefit of the town. And sometimes that gets out because you're looking at the money. I also want to mention that probably a lot of you here, I for one, and had a family member who was in need of the services of the police and the fire about 1.5 years ago, 2 years ago. And I was absolutely amazed that the police were at my front door within 2.5 to 3 minutes. Even more amazed, 2 minutes after that was an ambulance. Thankfully, we didn't need the services at that time, but they were there. I think we have to look beyond cost at this point, because we can kick this can down the road. We can do everything we want with that can, but at some point in time, we have to pick it up and use it. And I think we should look at what the benefits are and vote yes for this. As I see it, it is a no choice, no problem situation. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Sir.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Thank you for your years of service to our community. My name is Craig McClellan. I reside at 8 Rustic Drive. I move to question.
We have a motion to move the question. I'd actually seen Ms. Jenkins up here, so I will recognize her, and then we will proceed to Mr. McClellan's motion to stop debate.
So Leonora Jenkins, 198 Jerusalem Road. I've been listening to questions about traffic in that area, and since they have started the construction of that brand-new storage facility right next door, I'm wondering, has there been any accommodation thought of how that's going to be handled with the traffic situation?
I'm not sure I understand your question.
Well, you know where the storage facility is, right, Glenn?
Indeed, I do.
Indeed. You know, so we have the traffic coming out from the apartments, and then we're going to have the traffic coming out from the storage facility to also add to congestion in that area. And I know how congested that area is because I'm usually taking that left off of Sawyer Street to go down to the racket club in the morning, and it's just a mess. So are we putting in any type of traffic signals or something, or how, as Ms. Chu said, when she saw the police trying to get out, they were having difficulty getting out of that location?
So the traffic volume and traffic counts that generally are associated with storage facilities are low. The Avalon project is there, so that's established. The State Department of DOT, Mass Highway, has a long-range plan which is now out and starting to be formulated that will commence after they finish the work they're doing south of Beechwood Street, and then it involves the area from Sawyer Street north on 3A. It rearranges the entire traffic flow, the lanes, and one of the considerations that's in part of their planning is traffic control signals for this public safety building. We've been in touch with them. There's nothing that can be talked about or done just yet, but it is on the docket. We know about it, and we'll certainly be participating in whatever those plans are. One of the things that you should know is that many times police cruisers respond to an incident from their patrol, not from a base station like the fire department. So the seeming frequency of police cars coming out may be less than you might think.
Well, thank you very much, because I know that has been an issue for several years. People have complained about trying to get onto 3A from Sawyer Street.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So we've had a motion to move the question. Is there a second? Thank you. The motion has been made and seconded. It's not debatable. What that does is if it passes, it will stop debate, and then we'll proceed to a vote on the main motion. So the motion to move the question or stop debate requires 2/3 vote for adoption. All those in favor of the motion to stop debate, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Although opposed, please signify by saying nay. Nay. The motion passes by the requisite 2/3 vote. So we will now proceed to a vote on the main motion. We'll start with a voice vote. It does require 2/3 vote for adoption. All those in favor of the main motion under Article 21, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, please signify by saying nay. Nay. The article did carry with a requisite 2/3 majority. Okay, we've got more than 7 people doubting my count, which is legit. It's fine to do. So we'll proceed to a vote with our hand ballots. Can I ask the tellers to please take their stations? So no, don't bother putting your hands up yet. They've got to get to their stations. We've got a big audience, so it's going to take them. It's going to take them a while to do the count, so we're going to get a little arm exercise here. So what you don't need to do it yet, but when you're going to be voting, hold up your pink card, the little pink slip of paper. Debbie and Michael, you guys find your tape? Okay. All right. All those in favor, please hold up your slip of paper. Hold it up tall. Got a lot of counting to do. And just leave it up in the air, please, for us all. Please keep your hands up. Debbie and Michael, which one of you is counting that section? All right, keep going, please. Okay, tellers all good? Look at me, please. Tellers all good? Thank you. Debbie and Michael, you guys good?
Yes.
Okay, all right, you can hands down, please. All right, stay at your stations, please. Write down the count and then stay at your stations. Okay. All those opposed, please hold your hand up. Pink slip, please. Hold them up high. Okay, Debbie and Michael, you guys good? Okay, you can put your hands down. Thank you. Give me a little bit of time. We'll do the count, please. Okay, the count is in favor 293, opposed 129. That is the requisite two-thirds vote, so the motion passes. Thank you. We will proceed to Article 22. Resolution for the Town of Cohasset's municipal services to reach 50% net zero greenhouse gas emissions by 2030 and 100% by 2050. May I have a motion in the form distributed to the meeting? Thank you. May I have a second? Thank you. The motion has been made and seconded. Does require a majority vote for adoption. For the Alternative Energy Committee.
Okay. Good evening. I'm Debbie Cook. I'm Vice Chair of the Alternative Energy Committee. I live at 281 King Street. And we're here to talk about a non-binding resolution for the town's, just the municipal side, including the schools. That basically the resolution will support this, a commitment by the town to reach 50% greenhouse gas reduction by 2030 and 100% net zero greenhouse gas reduction by 2050. And approving this is good governance. Since 2020, carbon reduction goals have been codified. The state has mandated that towns reach these greenhouse gas goals. So as you can see, there was in 2020 a decarbonization roadmap, and in 2025 it was made state law. So the state's codified greenhouse gas emissions reduction is based on 1990 greenhouse gas emissions for every town. And so basically, we would have to do 30% by, 50% by 2030 and 100% by 2050. So right now, actually, just as a point of fact, our greenhouse gas emissions in Cohasset have increased in the last 8 years by 3%. We've gone from 77 metric tons to 77,000 metric tons to 80,000 in 2025. So we're kind of going in the wrong way. So as you can see, the secretary has established programs to reduce emissions of greenhouse gases. And the important thing is to promulgate greenhouse gas regulations. So we have to be prepared to address those. And that's what this resolution will start us on the road to do. It's good governance to get ahead of what's in store for us. So, so one of the things that they say is that we are going to have plans. And so all the municipalities will have to be submitting them. Municipal governments are called for building and transportation projects. So as you can see, we have state law that we're going to have to comply with, but we also have another side, which is the Green Community Program. The town has been really fortunate to have received over $1 million from the Green Community Program, but we've reached our threshold. So the next step is called Climate Leaders, and that's a 5-step program. This resolution is one of the 5 steps, and it's actually the 3rd step. So we've already done 2 of the steps.
Just a time check. You're at 4 minutes, please.
So the last thing is I just wanted to discuss this decision tree because I think it's really important. If you go down on the no side, if you don't pass this, the town is not going to be eligible for future funding, and we'll have to do what the best we can with volunteer resources. If we do pass this, the town will be eligible for grants and fundings as we work towards the Climate Leaders Program, we can get funding through there, but we also can get technical assistance grants now without even reaching climate leader status. So it's very important. As you can see, it's non-binding. It doesn't require the town to spend any money at this point. It is just allowing the town to go forward and make plans.
Thank you.
Questions?
The Select Board has recommended approval by a vote of 4-0. And actually, I don't have the Advisory Committee was going to give a recommendation at town meeting. Is there somebody from the Advisory Committee that would indicate what your recommendation is? It looks like the Advisory Committee does not have a recommendation. Is there discussion? Mr. Jenkins.
Leland Jenkins, Jerusalem Road. If we go with 0% release, what will it cost the town in 2050 to get to that point?
Well, that's way out of my wheelhouse. I think the important thing is that this does not commit us to anything except just agreeing to go forward doing the research. So, if we don't do it, we don't, qualify for grants to go forward. The next step is to go for a grant for decarbonization because we want to do a decarbonization plan.
Thank you. Sir.
J. Whitney Halloran, 18 Rustic Drive in Cohasset. So, similar to what Mr. Jenkins just said, we're living in a town where we're very keen on cost. What is this going to cost us? Here we are, I think some might think unrealistic green goals decided by the state are going to cost us more money and hamstring the town's ability to run. So how do we explain that? What are some costs of voting no? Do you have any idea?
Basically, as I said, this is state mandated. So this is something that we're going to have to address. We'd rather get ahead of it and get the grants than wait for being told what we have to do, because that it's codified, it's law.
However, you don't have any idea of cost.
Not yet. We have to do the plans. We have to do the decarbonization plans. And don't forget, this is only on the municipal side right now. And we're already, I want you to know, we have an agreement with National Grid right now. We have an MOU with them. National Grid is working with us to decarbonize our plant. And I was on a call with National Grid today, and the town hall is going to be 100% electric. So it's really, we're really making progress.
Many of us are foregoing green, many of us. However, the pace is unrealistic. I think we've seen that time and time again. An unrealistic plan, if you will, that just ends up costing the state more, taxpayers more everywhere. And that's the point. So I think it would be good for you to come back with some costs. For example, right now, what is it costing us to, as things are today, 88,000 metric tons, 77,000 metric tons? What is that in dollars and cents, please?
I'm sorry, this is to enable us to go forward.
I understand that, but
I think you're asking unrealistic.
I think we're good. I think you've asked the question.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes.
Richard Avery from Surrey Drive. Could you explain to us how we do measurement, setting a baseline, and then future measurements of did we actually achieve a reduction, especially when we're only doing the municipal side of the town and not everything? And does this include vehicles on the road? What do we mean by the municipal side?
So the municipal side does include vehicles. It's town-owned vehicles. So basically, you know, as far as the calculations go, I think that they basically know what each you know, vehicle or piece of equipment generates. I mean, and so if you can replace it, they can get very specific reduction figures.
And who does the measuring?
Well, the state does. I don't know. We're getting into a little bit into a complicated area, but the state has certain vendors and certain pieces of equipment that they have vetted, and you know, so that's basically it's a combination of the vendor working with the state to talk about what kind of greenhouse gases the piece of equipment generates.
Okay, thank you. Sir, in the center.
Steve Wenner, 195 Hull Street. I'm also a member of the Alternative Energy Committee. I just thought I'd maybe make a comment about a question I heard. What can we do to actually advance toward this goal and what it might cost? I want to remind everybody here that we have a wonderful solar array at the transfer station that did not cost Cohasset a penny. Not a penny. And it saved us over $1 million so far. So this is an example of the sort of project we can do which will advance our goal to net zero. Thank you.
Thank you. Gentleman over here, please.
Owen Berry, 15 Bancroft Road. I'd like to request to move the question, please.
I'm sorry, I won't recognize that yet. We've got two people standing here, so let's let them talk and then we'll consider that. Woman in the front here.
I'm Barbara Russell. I'm also on the Alternative Energy Committee. I live at 11 Deep Run. I just want to clarify a few things to Deb's point. We've already, so we're going up the ladder, right? We were a green community, and now we're about to become a climate leader. There are 26 climate leaders in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. The pool of funds available to those 26 are almost $20 million. So we know that in front of us, we have $1.6 million of potential funding. We have succeeded in getting over $1 million in funding in the Climate Leaders Program. And on the topic of how much is this going to cost us, We have nothing to do with the fact that the state has legislated that we will reduce our carbon footprint by 50% in 2030 and zero by 2050. We have nothing to do with that, but we will comply, and we must comply over time. Sitting and twiddling our thumbs is not an option. So why not take advantage of the funding ahead of us and become a climate leader, along with the other 26 people that are? Thank you.
Thank you. I've got the gentleman here, and then over here on the side.
Paul Antico, 124 Atlantic. I just had a quick question for someone that knows absolutely nothing about the state law on this, but you referred to the state law and the regulations that they're mandating. Is that the 50% and 100% at those dates? Is that what the state law is requiring, or is this separate from what the state law is asking us for?
Oh, this is to comply with the state law.
So those are their mandates?
Those are figures that the state law has as part of their roadmap to getting to net zero. They actually have more benchmarks. They have something for 2040 and different benchmarks we're supposed to reach, but the two big ones are the 2030 and the 2050. So we didn't complicate things by, putting in those other benchmarks.
And just quickly, I'll sit down after I ask the question. 2030 is 4 years away. How far are we from that 50%? Thank you.
Well, we're going the wrong way. I will tell you that. So, no, that's what we need to find out. That's what the next step is, to do this decarbonization roadmap and figure out, how we can get to it. It's not unrealistic. We can do it. I mean, and especially with the resources that National Grid is giving us right now, and they're working with us. On the police station, they have a whole group that works on new construction, and so they've been in on the ground floor to make the police station as effective as it can be. The one thing is, obviously, there's certain safety mandates that will, make things, we have to adjust to that. But.
Okay, thank you. We got a comment from over here, please.
So I'm Jocelyn Dana from 27 King Street, and I'm just trying to understand, this is a key to get to the money that's available to us to do the research if we are supporting this? Is that what I'm understanding? That this is the key for us to be able to have access? It's not that it's costing us anything, it is for us to be able to have access for that research, for things like the solar on the future police station, or whether we go with electric buses versus the gas buses, that type of thing.
So this is basically, yes, a step along the way that without this we can't. Our next step would be the decarbonization roadmap for the municipal side. This will allow us to apply for grants. We may not get them, but without this, we cannot apply for these grants.
That seems like a no-brainer. Thank you.
Thank you. Woman here.
Yes, hi, Mary Jo Larson, 12 Virginia Lane. I mean, basically, if you would just concentrate on this slide, this is an opportunity that you have to, it's aspirational. It shows that this town cares about the decarbonization or reducing our emissions, that we're willing to look into that, and that we are willing to take steps and plan to try to reduce our emissions. There's no cost to you. It's an opportunity that the town has to apply for funds. So that's why that non-binding phrase releases you from worries about, well, what's it going to cost? It costs you nothing. All you do is say, I'd like to look into that, and we care about this issue. We care about the climate issue. That's what you're saying. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. We did have a gentleman move the question. If we don't have any more debate, then we don't even need to vote on that. We can just proceed to a vote on the main motion. I don't see any more debate. That's great. Let's move to a vote on the main motion. It does require a majority vote for adoption. All those in favor of the motion under Article 22, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, please signify by saying nay. Nay. The motion is adopted by the requisite two-thirds vote. Article 23, Stormwater Management Bylaw Procedural Changes. May I have a motion in the form distributed to the meeting? Thank you. May I have a second? Thank you. The motion has been made and seconded. Requires a majority vote for adoption. I will recognize our conservation agent, Charlotte Pesci.
Hi guys, how's it going? Charlotte Pechtel, Conservation Agent. For this stormwater bylaw change, we're proposing to streamline single-family home projects a little bit more. So basically, we're not really changing anything in terms of the administrative procedures. We're just changing for single-family home projects in terms of if you're rebuilding, building an accessory dwelling unit, a garage. If those projects trigger what's called a full stormwater review, which is a land alteration of 5,000 square feet or more, it would normally have to go to the Conservation Commission for a full review with a public hearing. So for single-family home projects that are completely outside wetlands jurisdiction, we would like to make those administrative. This is kind of modeling what Situate already does. When Situate has a stormwater project, if it's in wetlands jurisdiction or partly within wetlands jurisdiction, it goes to the Conservation Commission. And if it's outside, it goes to the Planning Department. So we were trying to kind of model that a little bit with our procedures to streamline that a little bit more. So the administrative procedures would still be the same. Abutters are notified. The appeal process is the same. So we'd really just be making those projects outside of wetlands jurisdiction a little bit quicker in the review process. Thank you.
Thank you. The Select Board has recommended approval by a vote of 3-0. The Advisory Committee recommended approval by a vote of 9-0. And the Conservation Commission recommends approval by a vote of 4-0. Is there any discussion? We'll proceed to a voice vote. The motion under Article 23 does require a majority vote for adoption. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, please signify by saying nay. The motion is adopted by the requisite two-thirds vote.
Thank you.
Article 21, Citizens Petition Noise Control Bylaw. May I have a motion in the form distributed to the meeting? Thank you. May I have a second? Thank you. The motion has been made and seconded. Requires majority vote for adoption. I'll recognize on behalf of the petitioner, Mr. Fran Collins.
It's missing. Oh, here it is. There we go. Evening, I'm Fran Collins, 404 South Main Street, Cohasset. We have talked to a number of people who are pretty concerned about the amount of noise that we have in town, particularly from the gasoline-powered leaf blowers. And I'd like to reacquaint you folks to the Noise Control Bylaw, Section 170-2. It says, whereas excessive sound poses a serious hazard to public health, welfare, safety, and quality of life, and whereas the residents of the town of Cohasset have a right to and should be ensured an environment free of excessive noise that may jeopardize their health, welfare, safety, or degrade their quality of life. And under Section 170-3, Section G, noise disturbance means any sound which, A, may disturb or annoy reasonable persons of normal sensitivities, B, causes or tends to cause an adverse effect on the public health and welfare, and C, endangers or injures persons or endangers real or personal property. And Section 170-5, noise disturbance. I went to the Cohasset Public Schools. I should be able to read better than this. Noise disturbance prohibited. No person shall make or cause to be made any noise or disturbance. It shall be unlawful for any person to create, assist in creating, cause, or suffer or allow any excessive, unnecessary, loud, or unusual noise which either annoys, disturbs, injures, or endangers the reasonable quiet, comfort, repose, or health, safety of others. So that's a whole lot of words. The issue we have is that most of the people whose business is taking care of lawns, landscaping folks, use these high-powered gasoline engine-driven lawn blowers, leaf blowers. They make a lot of noise. Thursday, I was leaving my house Thursday morning, and there were two people across the street. They had two blowers going at the same time. They were as far away as me to the bleachers. I have a decibel meter in my telephone, and it came in at 197 decibels. 2 weeks ago, I was driving down Border Street. Oh, sorry. There we go. 2 weeks ago, I was driving down Border Street, and I saw two other fellows with the leaf blowers. So I turned the truck around and went back and across the street. And their truck was between them and the house that they were working on, and I got 185 decibels. That's a lot of noise. That's a lot of noise. 85 decibels of the A scale. That's A scale is the human range of hearing. 8 hours of that a day is hazardous. 100 dBA, more than 15 minutes a day, permanent hearing loss. 110 dBA.
Just a time check, Fred. You're at 3 minutes, so you've got about 2 minutes left.
All right, Dan, yeah, I'll move right along. Any noise exceeding 70 dBA is excessive. Many folks who have lawn services are not home when the noise happens. Now, frequently in my neighborhood, I have immediately 7 houses, 5 of them have lawn services. Sometimes there are as many as 2 and 4 blowers going at the same time. You can't stay outside with all that noise is going on. It's 7 days a week this time of the year. I spoke with several people who supply lawn equipment and was kind of surprised that they said, you know, you really don't need these big, powerful blowers in the summertime. You just need a small handheld electric blower that can blow the grass clippings off sidewalks and driveways and whatnot. We don't need to blow every square inch of somebody's yard to get the loose grass clippings off. So when I put the, how am I doing?
Got about a minute.
Good. When I put the proposal out to the town attorney, and she looked at it, she said, son of a gun, you know, I'm trying to work from home, and I had the window open, and I had to shut it up because the lawn blowers were making so much noise, I couldn't hear myself think. So I've lived my whole life with noise. I've worked with machinery all my life. I understand what noise is. I suffer here from hearing loss. But when I'm home now, I like to have some peace and quiet. And if we have electric blowers, that would be a wonderful thing. Now, initially, we wanted to ban them totally. We rethought that. You do need these big blowers in the fall when all the leaves are out. We do need blowers in the spring for cleanup. So we decided that let's go from May 15th to September 15th. There are 11 towns in the state that have forbidden them. 2 of those towns have the seasonal ban that I just mentioned. So I think that for our peace and tranquility, we need to get rid of these high-powered gasoline engines. And on top of that, they're terrible, they're terrible polluters. We just heard about decarbonization. One of these leaf blowers for an hour is the same thing as driving your truck 1,000 miles. It's just, it's ridiculous. So I don't like to cause any hardship to anybody, but, excuse me, but it's time to do something with all this noise. We don't have to have it. It's not necessary. What other point was I going to make here quickly? And regardless of what they say, electric machines are substantially quieter by about 35 to 40 decibels. That's pretty much an overview of what we have. Home Depot says that by 2028, 80% of all yard and garden equipment will be battery powered. That's an interesting fact. I just got that today. So I hope you'll give it some serious thought. Let's have some peace and quiet, and we'll all be happy.
The Select Board has voted recommending against adoption by a vote of 4-0. For the Advisory Committee, I'll recognize Mike Barkley.
Good evening, Mike Barclay, 100 Elm Street, on behalf of the Advisory Committee. The current bylaw that we have in place was passed 2 years ago. Before that was brought to the town meeting, we spent a lot of time studying similar noise bylaws in other towns, and the goal no one likes noise. No one likes it. No one wants it. And when we put forth that article that was approved here, we thought it was really important to strike a balance. We wanted to make sure that there were guardrails around what times people could use equipment, contractors could use equipment, fines were put in place in the event that the rules were not followed. And, again, we wanted to make this balance so that there were some, because there was no bylaw in place for the whole town before that. And we wanted to strike a balance where there were some definite guardrails in place around time. The police are in charge of enforcing this, and we also didn't want the police to be necessarily running from property to property, measuring decibels and things like that. We also wanted to make sure that part of that balance was that we weren't telling all of you what you had to do with your lawn equipment. I mean, I have an electric mower. It doesn't work very well, truthfully, but, I don't have to put gas in it. That's my own thing. But, in putting together the bylaw a couple of years ago, we did not want to, promulgate that you had to have electric equipment. That's a choice. And, some of the, I know there was a handout, for instance, with some costs in it. Actually, you can get a lawnmower for under $300 at Home Depot or Lowe's, a gas-powered one. And so, I had the opportunity to speak with Fran, had tremendous respect for him. We had to agree to disagree, which happens in good politics, but I respect his opinion. But in this case, we have a bylaw in place. It's a common sense approach to controlling excessive noise in our town that gives the police some tools to enforce that when people do not abide by those guidelines. And, again, we are called to vote on Article 24 in the form that it's been presented to town meeting as well. And so the vote that we have is based on the language that's in the warrant right now. And so as you're thinking about whatever side you want to come out on this, that's what you're voting on. So we have a bylaw in place. Again, like any bylaw, it's not going to contemplate every future event, but we also have to be careful about what kind of, rabbit holes we go down in that. We're talking about leaf blowers and line trimmers now. I don't know if snow blowers come in electric, but I don't think one would have worked very well this winter. So, we voted against this, the advisory committee, because there is a new bylaw that was put in place 2 years ago that we believe struck the appropriate balance between, noise, limiting noise at times of the day that contractors should not be working, but was not an overreach and prescribed to people what they should be doing and what kind of equipment they should be mowing their lawns with or blowing their leaves. So, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Wilcox.
Mark Wilcox, 26 Parker Ave. So balance. Balance is the key here. 5 months a year, 5 summer months where your windows are open, we're asking that we not use gasoline-powered leaf blowers. Nothing to do with lawn tractors, nothing to do with chainsaws or any of the other stuff. We're looking for a May 25th, 27 implementation, I'm sorry, May 15th, 27th, 27 implementation. So we have a year to get our arms around this. We understand the spring cleanups are heavy duty. You got the heavy duty machines and you got to do that. And that's where Fran talked about, we needed to back off from a complete ban on this thing. And we also know that fall cleanup needs a lot of leaves. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Dunn?
Oh, sorry, she goes first.
Funny. Ms. Dunn.
Elizabeth Dunn, 21 Beach Street. I think this is a article or an amendment to a bylaw that the bylaw is very, very broad. We, in fact, allow noise 7 days a week in Cohasset from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. The bylaw has nothing in it that is actually measurable. And I mean, we don't expect that anybody would be enforcing a bylaw with actually measuring decibels. But the count is actually 16 towns in Massachusetts. I'm not sure we're that different than any of those towns, and over 100 municipalities in cities and all in 27 states. We have states that are as diverse as Nebraska, Wyoming, Utah, Colorado, California, that all have some kind of restriction or complete ban on gas-powered leaf blowers. The public health data is incredibly compelling. The WHO recommends a level of less than 55 decibels for hearing preservation, and NIH states that exposure of greater than 85 decibels can result in permanent hearing loss. The average decibel level is 100 decibels, somewhere between 80 and 110. When you add 2 or 3 folks blowing, you're talking about 400 decibel levels. I think that the time has come that we move forward. As Fran mentioned, this is coming whether we like it or not. Lowe's is currently selling 60% of their lawn equipment is electric powered. So I just think it's common sense. It's a ban that is simply in the summer. And there's all sorts of different ways communities have addressed that, but they're all addressing it. Thank you.
Thank you. Gentleman here in the center.
Ed Leahy,
Sorry,
215.
let your set down. I'll get him, and then I've got a gentleman here, and then you, Mark.
Dan Leahy, 215 Forest Ave. Respectfully, if we're going to listen to Lowe's and Home Depot, there's no need for this at all because they've projected we're all going to buy electric anyway. I would take it from a pure practical standpoint. I still do my own lawn. My neighbors next door to me on either side, across the street, they do their own lawn. They use ride-on mowers that are as loud as any weed whacker you can get. I own an electric weed whacker. It's as good as any gas power, but I have 2 very good, fairly new weed whackers as well because I have children who like to help out their old father. I also bought a leaf blower, because I have 28 trees on my lot, and they're mostly old oaks, and around November 15th, they decide to start coming down just as we're getting ready for snow. The electric leaf blower is a waste of time. I used it twice and took it back to Lowe's, and I was told at the time, and it's all hearsay, this is all hearsay that we're being presented. The guy said to me, "You are the 3rd customer bringing back his electric leaf blower today." So maybe it was the brand, I don't know. But I'd take it from a practical standpoint. We all have gas-powered devices. This is forcing us all to either use them only outside of these 5 months that it's here, or we have to all go out and get brand-new equipment, which is another form of taxation. I live with houses all around me. Until I saw this article, I was totally unaware there was a noise pollution issue with any of them. I would recommend we just vote this down and get on with life. Thank you.
Thank you. Him, and then you, Mark. Go ahead.
Mark Maggi, 19 Stanton Road. I don't support this, but I have 3 sort of structural administrative issues with this. The 5-month ban is not what's listed on the warrant here. That was changed after the warrant was printed. So we're talking about the 5-month ban, but that's not
Correct.
being
That's
voted on.
at the beginning of the meeting, I explained the difference between the motions printed in the packet and the warrant. Correct. So this is narrower than what was presented in the warrant. It's within the scope.
What was debated by the advisory committee and the select board.
I'm sorry, say again?
What's in the warrant is what was debated by the advisory committee and the select board.
Okay.
And voted on. Additionally, and I know we're not supposed to address people's individual comments, but it was said this is just for leaf blowers. That's not the case. Line trimmers are explicitly mentioned in the warrant article. Finally, it is a citizen's petition for noise control review. The third word is to reduce pollution. So are we quantifying pollution or noise? I think this is very well intentioned. I just think from a structural and administrative standpoint, it's a bit of a mess. And we should be careful on voting on something like that. Thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Dunn.
Hey, I'm Mark Dunn, Beach Street in Cohasset. So, you know, some of the points that have been brought up have to do with private property and my ability to run my property and run my lawn care however I choose, regardless of whether it has an impact on other people. The impact that it has on other people can be noise, it can be pollution, and a variety of those factors. So if you know, private property does not mean that you can do anything you want to do. So, for example, I can't go home tonight and decide to turn my property into a 7-Eleven or to do something else. Zoning and property rights are restricted, and they're restricted for the greater good. So zoning, for example, you have industrial zones. Industrial zones were created to isolate impacts, whether it's noise, whether it's pollution, whatever it is. What has happened with leaf blowers is it's kind of a migration of an industrial product to a residential use. And when I say leaf blowers, I mean gas leaf blowers. With respect to the structure, we agree the warrant should be amended to take out clippers or trimmers, and that was an oversight. So going forward, unreasonable noise imposes costs on other property owners and residents. Also, I would say property values. Your use of your property or my use of my property could have a negative impact on the value of your property. Nobody wants to move in next to a hazardous waste dump or something like that. And so I take, I respect the advisory committee's view, but they must not live dealing with what we live with every day. It's just absurd, the amount of noise that is causing us issues. So, Cohasset's a highly desirable place. We want to keep it that way. This is not the first community to pass this kind of restriction, and hopefully with cooperative help we can do it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Whitney.
Thank you very much. Jay Whitney Howard again of 18 Rustic Drive. Hey, I want green. We all want green. I got a green weed whacker. My brand new truck is a hybrid. It all gets back to what's reality. What is realistic of planning of these things? The noise, I hate the noise. I can't stand it, but it's usually not very long in my neighborhood. That guy does it, that house does it. It's over, and then it's my turn to do mine. And we kind of go through like that. So, time, place, occasion, so to speak. I also think of the economic impact of the people working very hard in our town, mowing our lawns and doing these things. What's the impact on these poor businesses? They're going to have to now buy all brand new electric. First of all, is it lawnmowers as well? You were saying lawnmowers, but it's leaf blowers and weed whackers. And weed whackers? No weed whackers, okay?
Guys,
okay, great.
Do not address people in the audience.
Absolutely beautiful. So, and final point, is there going to be a fine or something if somebody gets caught with their gas leaf blower? Is there a fine you're going to be installing? Is that what you'd like to do? It's already in the bylaw. Why don't you tell me? Why don't you tell us? I don't.
The gentleman asked, will there be a fine? Is there's one of the proponents who can answer that question just very briefly?
Yeah, I just...
Bylaw. I'll have to see if I can dig it up here right now quickly. But First offense.
We all want green, but what's realistic?
Sir, you asked a question, let them answer it.
First
If
offense
this
is
is
$100.
if this is
Second
inserted
200.
into the
Third is
current
300.
bylaws, yes, there would be a fine. The current bylaws levy fines for noncompliance with the bylaw.
Okay, thank you. That was the answer. Let's take the tone of this discussion down a little bit, please. Okay, I've got a gentleman. Jay, you're good. I've got a gentleman right here. Then I've got the woman back there, please. Sir.
Fred Zotos, 28 Old Coach Road, neighbor of Dan Leahy, who was my old boss at Hugo's. Nice to see you, Dan. Live in the same neighborhood that I grew up in when my parents moved here in 1967. It used to be a quiet town. I do not think it is anymore. I work from home. My mother's 98 years old. I have to constantly shut the windows when the weather's nice because of the leaf blowers. I'm an electrical mechanical engineer by training. And I can tell you that when one leaf blower, yes, can be 110 decibels. But when 2 or 3 operate in unison, they reinforce the sound waves and it resonates. So you not only get, it's not additive as far as 100, 200, 300, but you do get that resonance, which is extraordinarily much louder. When an A380 Airbus goes over our house, it's less noise than the leaf blowers. And that's the largest commercial plane in the world. It's quiet, though. Now, the next article is on Wheelwright Park. If you don't know, Old Coach Road is adjacent to Wheelwright Park, and I've been playing in that and taking hikes in that for my entire life. When I go for a hike in Wheelwright Park, the leaf blowers, it's 300 acres, but the leaf blowers you can hear from each corner of the park, and you can't escape it. It is omnipresent when you go for a walk or a hike in Wheelwright Park. So I would really encourage everybody. This isn't outlawing leaf blowers. It's certainly not outlawing any other gasoline motor equipment, which was intimated by the advisory committee person, which I, with all due respects. It's, the article reads, and I do have 5 minutes, correct, sir?
You don't need to use all of it.
Oh, I know. You know that. But it's the first time in 61 years that I've spoken at a town meeting, so please. The article says, just for everybody's clarification, moved that the town vote to amend its general bylaws, Chapter 170, noise control, by amending Section 170-6, specific activities, by adding to the end of this section, quote, notwithstanding the foregoing, gasoline-powered leaf blowers and line trimmers are banned between May 15th and September 15th, period, end quote. And I would like to ask the advisory committee we've already heard from, but I'd like to ask the Board of Selectmen what their rationale was for voting. The Select Board recommended approval by a vote from 0 to 4. So what their rationale was for, if they could illuminate on it, for rejecting this particular article.
Thank you. Is there anyone from the Select Board that would like to respond to that? You can go ahead and sit down, sir.
Hi, Ellen Marr, 63 Old Pasture Road. The Select Board voted to not recommend this to town meeting floor. We concur with our colleagues on advisory that we already have a noise ordinance bylaw and that this was forcing choices upon people that they perhaps didn't want to make, and now adding in the time frame into the motion from the original warrant article forces people perhaps to have 2, because it's been declared that electric-powered leaf blowers are not sufficient for fall or spring cleanup. So people could end up having to have 2, an electric one for the time period defined in the motion, and then a gas-powered one for the other seasons. And we just felt it was too oblique, the warrant article. We felt we had the noise ordinance bylaw in place, and it was undefined in terms of how it impacts our municipal facilities team and what they have to do. Do we have to buy all new equipment for our facilities team in season? And also for all the commercial landscapers in town. That's not really our concern, the commercial people, but it is part of the fabric of our community. Thank you.
Thank you. I've got the woman right here. Please, we've got a number of people standing. we've been discussing through a bit. Please be sure you're limiting your remarks to new ideas, new thoughts, please. Go ahead.
I'm Jocelyn Dana from 27 King Street. I just wanted to agree with that there is a pretty bad sound issue that we have in town specific to blowers, and that I do feel that the time frame that's been selected here to have it be available for the leaf time when you need a more powerful unit, and including all of the different service providers for the area so that they have that to do that type of work. I think that's great. I do think this is a really wonderful, smart program for us to be able to lead within our community that is so very specific and so very measurable, and something that we can do for ourselves, for our community, and it environmentally has a positive impact and aligns with what I feel our town is also doing. So I feel like this would be something that makes sense from a homeowner who is also bothered by the sounds in the community and also uses both kinds of things and would willingly align with this and support it for the small businesses that also would be needing to make that transition for our benefit. Thanks.
Mr. Pease.
Sam Pease, 3 Sankey Road. I'd like to call a question, please.
Motion to call the question. There is the second. Thank you. It's not debatable. It requires 2/3 vote for adoption. As we saw before, it ceases debate, so if it passes by a voice vote, then we stop debate. If it doesn't pass, then we continue on our debate. So it requires 2/3 vote for adoption. All those in favor of stopping debate, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, please signify by saying nay.
Nay.
The motion was passed with the requisite 2/3 vote, so that we do stop debate, and we'll proceed to the vote on the main motion. Motion under Article 24 requires a majority vote for adoption. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, please signify by saying nay. Nay. That's too close to call. I'll ask the tellers to please take your stations. Okay, we're going to vote by hand, as we did last time. Tellers, once the tellers take their stations. Debbie and Michael, if you guys want to ask people to slide over one way or the other to make it clear, please do that. People in the bleachers, if you guys could please slide one way or the other as asked by the tellers so that they can see a clear dividing line so we don't have any confusion. That would be great, please. Great, thank you. Tellers good? Okay, all those in favor, please hold your pink slips of paper up way high. Hold them up high. Keep them up, keep them up, keep them up. Okay, tellers good? Yes? Okay, you can put your hands down for the yeses. Okay, now for the noes. Put your hands up high. Keep them up. Okay, Michael, Debbie, you guys good? Okay, you can put your hands down. Thank you. Okay, the tally is in favor 141, opposed 145. The motion fails. We'll proceed to motion under Article 26. 25, I mean, sorry. May I have a motion in the form distributed to the meeting? Thank you. May I have a second? Thank you. Motion has been made and seconded, requires a majority vote for adoption. I'll recognize for the Open Space and Recreation Commission, Adam Norman.
Hello, my name is Adam Norman. I live at 88 Doan Street, and I'm here to represent the Cohasset Open Space and Recreation Committee. Some of you might not be aware that the town is in the middle of a project to construct a 160-foot tall cell phone tower in Wheelwright Park. This motion seeks to preserve the current condition and recreational use of Wheelwright Park and asks the Select Board to pursue alternative location for this cell phone tower. I want to be very clear. We recognize that wireless communication networks are an essential public service, including for emergency response, and let you know that public safety is not the issue here tonight. The issue is that the process to select this site and the use of protected open space that was gifted to this town for a very specific purpose, and that's recreational use. We see a lot of flaws in that process. So we're not opposed to a cell phone tower, we just don't want it in our public park. We have a lot of concerns about the lack of due diligence and the incomplete analysis associated with this project. We have not seen a town-led study demonstrating that alternative sites were fully evaluated, nor a clear cost-benefit analysis that justifies this specific location in Wheelwright Park. We have repeatedly asked the town to present alternative sites, but none have been meaningfully analyzed or shared with us. Technologies and coverage solutions for cell phone networks are evolving rapidly, but there's been no discussion on whether newer approaches could reduce the need for a tower in this undisturbed open space. This plan for this project requires crossing a culvert through the Forest Ave entrance with an intermittent stream. It's going to have to widen the access paths in order for maintenance vehicles to access the site, cutting down dozens of trees, and yet there's been no wildlife impact study. Access to this park is going to be severely disrupted, not just during the construction phase, but well beyond. There are potential viable alternatives, alternative sites, but those have been quickly dismissed. Wheelwright was selected for its elevation and its proximity to the areas of town that lacks adequate cell phone coverage. We have proposed an alternative location in the recycling transfer facility. That site in Wheelwright has an elevation of 78 feet above sea level, whereas the RTF site has a higher elevation at 93 feet above sea level. That site at RTF has already been disturbed, and it's only about 1,000 yards from the proposed site in Wheelwright Park. So this alternative site could actually improve coverage by moving it to higher ground. At a recent Conservation Commission meeting regarding this project, a concern was raised about falling debris damaging the transfer station solar field. And our concern is that if falling components are a risk from this infrastructure, there are also a risk to hikers who use the forest trails below. The most meaningful differences for the RTF site are reduced wetland disturbance, honoring the original intent of the donors of this park, and potentially lowering the overall impact from this construction. And long-term, last thing I'll say is long-term, the ramifications of using this protected land are profound. If this project proceeds as proposed, we'll need to ask, how do we protect the rest of Wheelwright Park and our other parks and open spaces from similar actions in the future? Once we set this precedent that donated open space can be repurposed without full process and appropriate studies, it becomes much harder to say no to the next time. This motion will give the town an opportunity to pause, reassess, and pursue alternatives without limiting the town's ability to address public safety needs.
Just a second, he's in the middle of
I
speaking.
just have one last closing
You've
remark.
got 30 seconds, sir.
The Open Space and Recreation Committee is asking the town to oppose this project in its current form, not to stop cell phone service, but to demand transparency, alternatives, and respect for the land that's been entrusted to us. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Dick, you had a point of order? This is on behalf of the proponents. The proponent notified me that this gentleman was going to speak. Okay. So the Select Board has recommended against by a vote of 4-0. The Advisory Committee has recommended against by a vote of 9-0. I recognize the gentleman over here.
Why don't we let the selectmen go first? I defer to the selectmen first.
Okay, sorry. I didn't realize the selectmen were going to speak. Go ahead, Mr. Farag.
Thank you. David Farag, Select Board, 39 Beechwood Street. The cell phone project was approved by town meeting, special town meeting in December of 2022. That vote was unanimous. As a part of that, the warrant that was sent out to every single home in this town, giving everyone notice regarding the project, the article spoke to where the cell phone tower was going to be put in Wheelwright Park, and it also denoted the land that it was going to be swapped for in the other end of town, that being on Route 3A, the Esposito property, which the town acquired. And it authorized the town to go forward with Article 97 legislation to put up the cell phone tower. Following that, with the Select Board authorized, they went forward to go with Article 97 legislation in order to swap and do the cell tower. It was approved by the state legislature, both the House and Senate. It was approved by the governor. It went to the Attorney General. And once all that was done, a request for proposal was put out by the town of Cohasset to select the cell phone company that would help put up the tower. So right now, that is being permitted in front of the Conservation Commission and soon to be in front of the Zoning Board as we speak. The other locations that are spoken of and it doesn't address it in the substance of the article. It just says to find another location. The only other town-owned properties in that end of town that I am aware of is the RTF and Wadley Park. Wadley Park is next to Rocky Beach, if you know, as you go down Forest Ave there. And so a cell phone tower was looked there, but again, it's in a neighborhood. It would be there on Jerusalem Road, and it would have to be standing over a house, which was not appropriate, and also face the Atlantic Ocean, which wouldn't be the greatest when you have a nor'easter. The RTF that keeps being talked about as a potential location, we have a capped landfill at the RTF, which everyone should know. When you have a capped landfill, underneath that cap, as the organics break down, it breaks down to methane and carbon dioxide. We have a solar array that's on top of it now, as you are well aware. And the idea that we would be able to drill through that cap to then put a cell tower in, whoever is jackhammering through that cap better have their life insurance paid because of all the methane gas that's below there. So if there's a spark, that is not going to work out very well. Let alone having a cell tower there, it's a lower elevation than Wheelwright Park is. So the RTF is not an acceptable or sensible approach for this. And that's precisely why Wheelwright Park was chosen. Finally, the contract, we have a contract with a cell phone operator to build the tower in Wheelwright Park. If we were to move it somewhere else or try and do that, the town would be in breach of contract with that carrier, and the town would be on the hook for the consequential damages, the architectural renderings, the engineering that they've done up until this point in time. And then finally, the balloon test we did in Wheelwright Park over a year ago showed that you can barely see it above the treetops for where it is. And there's only one small view corridor that in the wintertime from the other side, the beach side, you might be able to see a little bit of the tower, but it's out of the way. And the final note is that when it comes to cell phone towers and telecommunications equipment, it's very common to have them in parks or state parks. In fact, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts puts most of their telecommunications equipment on fire towers, which are found all throughout the state at the highest elevations. And if you go to the Blue Hills, one of the biggest telecommunications towers or needle that there is, serves most of the radio stations in Boston, including WGBH, NPR, the sports radio, and half of the radio stations that you probably all listen to. Your plane, of course, has to go around it when you're coming from the south back to Logan, but it's pretty common that you would put this technology in there. So for all these reasons, to put it plainly, the horse has left the barn on this. We're 4 years into it. We did what town meeting wanted us to do unanimously 4 years ago, and it's going to be for public safety. And then, of course, we'll have a few other carriers on it as well. So I ask you to vote no on this article. Thank you.
Thank you. Got the gentleman here, sir.
Yes, Fred Zotos, 28 Old Coach Road. Again, thank you for your patience. I know it's late, but this actually is in our neighborhood, Selectman. And I guess I wear a few hats. I'm also a master's degree in electrical engineering, and I've been working on microcell environments lately for autonomous vehicles. So there are definitely different ways to get around having to put a 160-foot cell tower in a trusted, deeded property where the Wheelwright family will probably roll over in their graves, the ones that trusted it to the town. And it sets, as the committee said, the Conservation Committee, I believe, in my opinion, it sets a very bad precedent for people that leave gifts in trust to the town in their wills. And this was not one, this was 4 wills from the family. Now, as far as alternative sites, I've heard the RTF. I don't know if anybody's noticed, but there is a for sale sign right across the street from the Wheelwright Park entrance on Forest Avenue for 9 acres of property to do with you what you will, I would imagine. We could rezone it or whatever, but it wouldn't be violating the trust of the people that put the park up. And also, with due respect to the selectmen, I do not know of a tree that's 160 foot tall in Wheelwright Park. Maybe 80 feet, yes, but 160 feet, no. This will rival the windmill, the electric windmill that they were going to put on top of, I think it was Turkey Hill or Bear Hill, off of Route 3A, which would have been bigger than the one they had in Hull, which is now defunct and fallen down, removed. So I ask, take this, even though you've had sunken money, in the last 4 years, development in electronics and Wi-Fi reception, Wi-Fi 6 is here, Wi-Fi 7 is coming, edge network computing. You don't need those huge cell towers anymore in order to get the same coverage. You use a unit called a roadside unit, which is about a foot square, and you just put them along a few telephone poles up and down the streets. You're going to get even better coverage than you would from the 160 cell foot tower, which is now old technology, for less costs. So I think you could actually, if you looked at this, you could nix the project and actually save money. Thank you.
Thank you. So I've got a number of people recognized. Gentleman here, woman there, man behind her, woman behind him, and then I got a man here. So we've got quite a number. You're up.
Good evening. Corey Evans, 313 North Main Street. I was paying attention to this project closely when it was originally proposed because my house looks literally right at where the antenna is. And so I was curious. So when the balloon was up, I watched from my house. I walked around the neighborhood. I walked through the park and came to the conclusion that, okay, this won't affect me. I paid attention then because I was worried. So I want to share that this is a location that is going to be hidden from my perspective. The other thing is I'm a frequent runner. I run from my house down Forest. I can't make a phone call from certain places. Now I've seen from the school committee side, I've heard from parents who are worried why the bus tracker doesn't work. Well, we lose cell phone coverage. I understand very much the concerns about conservation, and I think they're valid. But I do think this is a sensible solution to solve something that anyone who lives on Jerusalem Road Drive or goes to the beach, we can solve this now. And from my perspective, years ago, I think the impact is quite low. So I do support this, but everyone's got to vote their own way. But from my perspective, this is a good trade-off. Thanks.
Woman there, please.
Hello. Amy Berniker, 662 Jerusalem Road. I have poor cell phone service in my neighborhood, but I am against a cell phone tower in Wheelwright Park. Wheelwright Park is a unique, special place in Cohasset. I visit frequently, and within a moment of stepping in, I feel renewed by the natural, quiet environment. I also was stunned to read Article 25, which states that the Wheelwright family donated the land as a public park and that the wills expressly state that there be no buildings except for park use and no other construction. So I believe it would be a profound mistake to damage and misuse Wheelwright Park, and it would not be justified simply to make better cell phone service. I am not against public safety or a cell phone tower for improved reception, but let's honor the Wheelwright family and look for a more appropriate location for a tower. Thank you.
Thank you. Sure.
Jeremy DeBona, 276 North Main Street. I attended the town meeting when Chris Senior spoke about the proposed tower on December 12, 2022. And he would like to enter into the record that approximately at the 37th minute, the former town manager, Chris Senior, stated, "There's a lot more work that will have to be done, and any further action would have to come back to town meeting if we were to lease the land and the carrier." Town meeting did not vote to approve a cell tower in Wheelwright Park. The town appears to believe that the proposed tower is exempt from planning board review. This is an error that should be corrected. The current design clearly intended for commercial use by carriers such as Verizon, T-Mobile, and AT&T, which removes the town's ability to exempt the site from planning board review. Additionally, a violation has clearly occurred as many other abutters and abutters to abutters were not notified, which is required form of notice. I've attended all subsequent meetings, and at no meeting did I or attendees ever vote to approve a cell tower in Wheelwright Park. Thank you.
Thank you. A woman, please.
Hi, I'm Jen Madden from 60 Forest Ave. I walk in Wheelwright Park often, and I just have two questions. As I've been walking in Wheelwright Park, I've noticed a lot of tags on the trees. What percentage of the park will be used for the cell phone tower, including access to the cell phone tower? That's my first question. My second question is our cross-country, Cohasset High School cross-country team uses Wheelwright Park as its race course. Will they be affected by this? So my first question is the percentage of the park. How many trees are we cutting down? Are we creating an access road?
Is there some,
That's
you
the
may know the
first
answer. Is
question.
there somebody from the select board that could answer the two questions? So what percentage of the park is used, I think was the question, by the proposed cell tower, and impact on cross-country runners?
The project takes up about 0.6 acres approximately. Wheelwright Park, depending upon how you want to size, is between 200 and 300 acres. And the flags that you might be talking about might be the wetland flagging that was done for the project. Thank you.
I'm sorry, that's great. Response on the question about
2
cross-country?
acres of land is what they're taking, and there's at least 70 trees that are to be felled. At least 70 trees have been earmarked for being felled. 30 on the site and then a 40 on the access portion.
I'm sorry. And what about the is it necessary that there be some kind of access to the cell phone tower?
Is it necessary that there be some kind of access to the cell phone tower?
The access to the cell phone tower would be from the Forest Ave side, and it would go along the current cart path that is there, and then as you go down it, you take a left to where the cell phone tower would be located.
Thank you. Let's see. I've got the gentleman here in the front.
Dwight Seipler, 30 Ocean Ledge Lane. I just need some clarification here. The officials seem to be speaking against this project, but my copy of the proposed motions says that they've recommended approval.
It was phrased that way. They recommend approval by a vote of 0 to 4, I think, which is the same thing as recommending disapproval by 4-0. Thank you. I got the woman over here.
Hi, Carrie Pendolino. I'm at 3 Jerusalem Lane. Yes, myself does not work most of the time, but having lived in other communities across the nation, Fred here talked about the boxes. The boxes actually are the new way of putting cell access to it on telephone poles, which is a more economical and a more environmental way of actually providing cell phone service. So Fred here is actually right, because I've had that in all of the cities that I've lived in. So just to give you a different perspective.
Thank you. I've got Mr. Jenkins.
Leland Jenkins, Jerusalem Road. As Dr. Wood would say, call the question.
Okay, so I've actually seen, thank you for that. I've got 4 people, I think, that I've already noted. So we'll let them speak, and then I'll entertain the motion to call the question. So you're first.
Peter Pescatori, 12 Linton Lane. As far as cross-country, the runners turn left into the Boy Scout camp and take the trail back to the parking lot. So they wouldn't be going down to where the tower is. I walk in there every day. Wheelwright is the gem of Cohasset, and it's already being infringed upon by houses that are being built close to the trails, and one is very close to where the Boy Scout encampment is, and I don't think we should have any more encroachment on that beautiful park. Thank you.
Thank you. Got the woman here on the right.
Marissa Manley, 14 Spindrift Lane. I moved to Cohasset in 2018, and for those that don't know, Spindrift Lane is one block up from Black Rock Beach, in that sort of dead cell service zone. I also sit on the Open Spaces Committee, so I'm very close to this project. We've been talking about it for the past 2 years. And despite the lackluster cell service at my house, I'm very much in favor of not having the cell tower in Wheelwright Park. In 2018, we had no service. Definitely was disconcerting when we lost power. In 2026, we now have a few bars of service, and I can only speak from my own experience, but I feel very confident that as technology changes and evolves, that we will get to a place where we will have full cell coverage in Cohasset, whereas a cell tower is a very permanent solution, and it's a permanent solution that can't be undone. It's very destructive to the ecosystem in Wheelwright Park, and it's a park, as many have already mentioned, that was gifted to the town and should be honored by those that gifted it. The other thing I think was kind of glossed over that I just want to mention is the land swap that was gifted to, or what will be the trade for this 2-acre parcel in Wheelwright Park, is a swamp. It's a completely unused, it cannot be a piece of property that can be used for any sort of recreation. And so for that, it's not really an equal piece of property, and the town will actually be losing public recreation space.
Thank you. I've got the woman here at the microphone.
Barbara Wren, 44 Black Rock Road. I have listened to all of the conservation hearings, and the proposed tower, I think, is 175 feet, which is like a 17-story building. And also of note, as I think 50 trees are, some of them very mature, are going to be marked to take down. The parking lot's going to be enlarged. And the cart path, which is the walking path up to the tower, the utility companies are asking for a 12-foot easement. Enormous cranes, 800, I don't know, the cement trucks that are going to have to go up there. That path is going to have to be widened and altered. And I think every quarter, maybe 3 to 6 big utility trucks will have to go up to that tower. I think the park is going to be irrevocably changed. I think that it's just a disgrace to the Wheelwright family. The park is beautiful. We don't have a lot of open space in our town. And also, when I was listening, I would recommend that you all go back and watch the conservation hearings. The cell plans are very old. The technology has to have improved. There has to be something better than a massive tower, which will have all of those lines coming down that the birds can fly into. I think we should pause, and the technology should be looked at. That's pretty much all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. We have had a motion to move the question. Is there a second? Okay. This is a vote on whether we're going to stop debate or not. It's not a vote on the main motion. Motion to stop debate does require 2/3 vote for adoption. So all those in favor of stopping debate, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, please signify by saying nay. Debate is stopped. That passed unanimously. We'll now proceed to a vote on the main motion, the motion under Article 25. It requires a majority vote for adoption. All those in favor of the main motion under Article 25, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, please signify by saying nay. Nay. The motion does pass with the requisite majority vote. That concludes the business in our warrant. Thank you for your consideration and respect. May I have a motion to dissolve? Thank you. You serious? Okay, well, hold on. We've got 2 people at least doubting the count. Are there others that doubt the count? You need 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is there a 7th? 7, okay. All right, we're going to have to do a hand count. All right, please sit tight. We're going to have to vote by hand. Making the tellers work. Okay, we got to get this vote done. Okay, all those in favor of the motion under Article 25, please hold your little pink slips up. Keep your hands up. Keep them up just a little bit longer, please. Okay, write your tallies down, please. Okay, tellers, you good? Okay. All those against, please hold your pink slips up, please. Please don't leave. The tellers are trying to count. Don't make life hard for them by moving around, please. Okay, you can put your hands down. Thank you. Okay, the tally is in favor 199, opposed 30. It does pass. May I have a motion to dissolve? Thank you. Is there a second? All those in favor of the motion to dissolve, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, please signify by saying nay. Nay. The meeting is dissolved. How are you? Thank you very much.
This is the first time I've seen